Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 47 of the Pylon Show, featuring Sweaty Jeff, Old Dan, and two young boys, which is our favorite way to do a show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it, guys. We celebrated 1 year, one episode ago, and now we're kicking off the next year. It's going to be great. Dan, how are you, friend? What are you up to?
Well, like you, I just took a shower, but unlike you, I'm not sweating, so I'm doing pretty well.
I just gymmed. No time for shower. Maybe
Well,
this year I don't shower. That's the new thing that I'll do.
That's a great way to do it. I can't wait.
I would die in a week.
Oh, everything's good with me. Thank you.
That's what that's
Super
exactly
tournament starts tonight. Yeah.
So good. Are you commentating that with Tasteless, who just started a podcast? Now, I hope that podcast takes place later in the day. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, it takes place later in the day.
Because you don't want to get up at the farmer's time, which is what time is it there, Dan, when you start the show?
It's 9:45 a.m.
9:40. Jesus, how do you get out of bed that early?
Oof. Children.
It's tough. Yeah. Well, speaking of children, we've got two wonderful guests this week. One of my favorite streams. Well, not even, he doesn't really stream, but he appears on everybody else's streams. It's one of my favorite Protosses in all of North America, SE2 Azalea. So, Azalea, how you doing, man? Thanks for popping in here.
Is that what? Is that me?
That's it now. That's your name.
Why do you call him Azalea? I'm so confused by this.
No, it was a mistake. I was doing my cool, host thing earlier. I was like, I'll make a tweet to let people know about our awesome guests. And I swear to God, I know who Astrea is. I actually am a fan of his play and stuff, and he's a funny guy. But I just wrote Azalea, man. It was a map. I think there's Iggy Azalea out there. I don't know what Astrea is. Where does your name come from? What is that?
It comes from a video game, actually, on the PlayStation 1 console.
Oh, it was called Astrea, just straight up?
It's like a fighter, like a scroll shooter, and the name of the ship is the Astrea Fighter.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was a cool name, so I took it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate that. He was in the chat for 2 episodes ago now, so and then I got a chance to briefly meet you at WCS NA, and we'd love to. I want to have him on to get his perspective on WCS NA, shine a light on this young man too. He's a very good player, but also a subject that we've always wanted to talk about is just like the etiquette of smurfing and barcodes. And Astrea was not afraid to have the conversation. So thanks for coming on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. By the way, just to get this out there, Dan and I are making jokes about kids. We were talking about this before. Astrea is 22 years old, and I think he just turned it because he didn't know he was 22 until we asked him, and he had to correct himself. This other guy is truly the future of Terran, and that's what he calls himself. And I know that name. It's a young man. This guy is 17 years old, which Dan just turned 36. So, we make our jokes. But it's actually getting to that point where the numbers start to become like, in a weird world where Dan and some saucy young lady in 2002, if they would have hooked up, this could have been Dan's kid. And it's not
the year he was born, I was already flying around winning StarCraft tournaments.
So, or at least placing second or third today.
If I log on right now and play him, he will wipe the floor with me. So I don't. Is that fair? I'm not sure. But.
That's the way it goes, though. The young people rise up and kill their fathers. But anyways, Future of Terran, thank you for coming on, man. We've been a fan of yours ever since that amazing Cheesedelphia win. But you're now becoming a fixture on the NA ladder, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And the Future of Terran's going to talk. He was also, he was the subject of 2 episodes ago. We were kind of talking about marketing yourself and that kind of stuff, and just to get these guys' perspective is really valuable. So we appreciate you guys coming on. So now that we've introduced you, we're going to ask that you sit there silently. Well, Dan, no, I'm just kidding. But we'll do this week in StarCraft. It's just a funny segment for us. But before we get there, I have to do that thing where I thank everyone that makes the show possible. I too will try to speed this up, not because we don't appreciate it, but because we want to get to the conversation. So first and foremost, AFKT, of course. Well, not foremost. Excuse me. No, he doesn't earn that right. But he's first to be mentioned. AFKT, of course, wonderful stuff. Lycan had his own talk show and then went into business selling tea and wonderful stuff there. They sponsor the show, and we really appreciate it. So please do check it out if you're a tea drinker. It's a great way to support the show and someone that supports the show. And then, of course, feed your body with herbal stuff that's probably good for you. And if it's not, you can blame the FDA later down the road. We also want to thank Maturino. This is always funny. I don't do this in any order, by the way, so poor Cobra. And he gets it, too. He's snapping at it. He's a pro. Match Reno's been pretty awesome, guys. Please do consider continuing to support us there. There's the 24-hour fitness thing going on. Matt's going to show us the code today. And this is how you do it, too. You just click there. It's National Cheese Ball Day. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Haven't you, Dan?
Oh, my God, yes. It's who doesn't love cheese balls?
Well, you find
they're watching us right now. So.
Yeah. Vegans, that's who. And we don't let those people on our show. So put in the code word cheeseball, one word, and you will contribute to the prize pool. And as we say every week, it doesn't cost you anything. You can cap out that, and it'll help build our prize pool and support the show and all that lovely stuff. There's also wonderful merchandise you can buy through Match Reno that our amazing team puts together. There's some funny shirts, some cool mugs. I promise you, if I see any of you guys wearing any of this stuff, I'll hug you as hard as you want. Right before, like, if you have to have a safety word for it, I won't do that. So it'll be like a pretty tight squeeze, but nothing weird. Okay, so just keep it real.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I can't go too far with these jokes. It might actually be illegal at this stage. But thank you guys so much. Match Reno is a wonderful place. We still haven't, by the way, I apologize. We're still going to put together a show match, and that's going to be done through Match Reno. We owe you guys that. Dan and I are just very busy. That's as far as the excuse goes, but we'll get it done. Next up, the best way to support the show, I would imagine, is to head to our website. And then through our website, you can find all kinds of stuff like the Q&A, the clock to the next episode, but also our Patreon. And also, the links to all the previous broadcasts. But through our Patreon, you can become a different tier supporter of the show. And this is the lifeblood of the show. We would love to grow this. So if you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening through Twitch VODs, or just right now, please consider chipping away at this and helping grow it so that we can continue to pay our guests and hopefully pay them more in the future, and then also pay our team and pay ourselves and just keep making this wonderful content that I think a lot of you guys really enjoy, because we sure as hell love it too. So yeah, thank you for that. I'll talk about it at the end again, but for now, I think that's pretty good. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. And thank you to our previous sponsors. We did a couple. You guys checked that out. We appreciate you. Hopefully we'll have more in the future. Dan, I think we're ready for this week in StarCraft.
All right, let's rip through this week in StarCraft, because I want to get into our other topics. First off, Banshee Tournament number 18 is on April 20th. Signups are open. It probably won't be cast by Zombie Grub, Ragnarokette.
Look at that picture.
We'll probably end up doing it. That's a great mug.
What a great mug. And that's a cool cup that she's got, too.
Thank you, Jeff. you always make This Week in StarCraft.
Wow. Yeah, thank
you. All right, the SciX Alpha Pro Show Match Series. Looks like our boy Future here recently beat Art 5-3, and Gumiho likewise beat Zest 5-2. Those Terran vs Protoss games.
Future, quick, your thoughts on that show match?
I mean, I just did a bunch of meme builds against him, and he wasn't prepared.
Nice. Thanks you so much, Future. Keep going, Dan. That was great.
All right. Check that out on africatv.com/AlphaXSC2. Also from Alpha, the SC2 Team League. The grand finals was won by the MKers over 3D Clan. Again, you can check this out over on the Alpha pages and Africa TV. The BJ Destruction match Season 1 has occurred, and in fact has finished up. Team Pizza Maru has defeated Team Sexy Guy Gisato.
What does Gisato mean?
Gisato is one of our commentators.
That's
we have
it?
Caster Park, we have JYP, and we have Gisato. A lot of times, the Korean casters, there'll be one that kind of gets memed all to hell. I don't know why this happens, but like in StarCraft 1 ASL, we have Into the Rain, where they just keep on making pictures of him and holding him up in the audience. And I guess Chisato's starting to get that right now.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly why it's called Team Pizza Maru. I don't know why it's Sexy Guy Chisato, but none of this surprises me.
Okay.
Looks like Pizza Maru, though, did end up winning.
Pizza Maru.
All right. Team Pizza Maru. All right. Casting was by AlphaX. You can check that out on freakatv.com. China Team Championship 2019 Season 1 is going on. We've seen a lot of news starting to pop out from this. Of course, the teams are generally very top-end pros, and then some Chinese pros mixed in there as well. And that has been going on. Even Jin Air is in it, so definitely you want to check that out. It's kind of all over the place. It's on the Douyu site, but it's on some different Twitch streams as well, such as Wardy's. So definitely watch that and support that. They are like causing a lot of sponsorships, especially for Korean pros right now. So I think that's pretty great. The NA Apprentice Tournament. Looks like Future. Did you actually play random in this?
Yeah, I played random.
Why did you play random?
Why?
I just wanted to be competitive. Like,
Oh my
wanted-
god.
You didn't want to just smash the group too hard?
I mean, like last season, I had to play Astrea in the finals, and now there's no Astrea since he got round of 8 at WCS. So I just wanted to make things interesting.
Wow.
All right. It was funny because when I was going through the show notes today, I saw that little die next to your name, and I thought this is a great opportunity to ask one of these people, because occasionally you'll see this where someone will be like, "Oh, I'm going to play random in this tournament or play a different race," and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, "Don't you want to win?" I'm like, "No, I'm so good. It's fine. It's whatever." But
He still won.
yeah. Well, he got out of the group at least. Didn't win the group.
He
Hunter
did. Yeah, that's
won
true.
that group.
It actually worked out in my favor though, because I finished second, and on the lower bracket, all the good players are on the top bracket, so it worked out in my favor.
Wow.
Oh, all right. Shit. Calculated from Group A. I don't know how you did that.
Very
but all right.
calculated. Very.
But yeah, it continues forward. Casted by Fear Dragon and Tempo on Fear Dragon's Twitch channel. Check it out. All right, the Master Swan Open and Sea Duckling Open. These are the Bronze to Diamond and Bronze to Master tournaments. Looks like XPA beat Xenoblaze over there in the finals. You can check that out over on Cranky_Ducklings on Twitch. Clash Community Series. This one was cast by both Roddy and Todd. Roddy's favorite player in the whole world, Goblin, was able to defeat Gerald/Geralt. No one knows why he changes the last letter in his name consistently, but he does. 3-2 in the finals. Check that out over on the Clash channel. Was that the last Clash one? I think so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think so. I think that was, they had a bunch of community open tournaments. Anyways, really great. All right, the biggest news this week, Eric lost the Sentimiento Latino number 49.
Yeah.
Eggs beat him, ZVZ. And then he lost a best of one against a Protoss player in the loser bracket.
Of course
so
he did,
Eric finally was dethroned, but he took it back the very next week in number 50. Number 51 will be played on the 20th of April. Check that out. You can check it out, of course, in the show notes if you're interested in any of this. All right. A bunch of words with Guatemala in there. It was a tournament, and it was a live tournament. Really cool. Someone
Dan, you got to
named
try
Luis
this. You got to try the name of this tournament, please.
Liga Guatemalateca de StarCraft 2 2019 Season 1. Guatemalan SC2.
Do you know what that means?
Guatemalan SC2 League?
Yep.
Damn.
You nailed that, dude. You're now bilingual.
Yeah. No, I'm not at all. Lewis Jr. defeated Gerald in the finals there. Oh my God.
Wait,
he's
what?
everywhere. Well, it's a different Gerald.
Oh, okay. Well, how can we tell?
I don't see his picture here, and it's spelt with a D, and I think today was the T day.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah. Very cool, though, to see a live event being played. Congrats there to Lewis Jr. Olimo League. I forget which number this is, maybe 152, I believe. Solar takes out Lenok in the finals there after they defeated Fantasy and Innovation, respectively. You can check that out over on twitch.tv/Olimo League. It's cast by Maynard each week. And, of course, check out their Patreon. One of the best values you can get out there. The Rifkin's Back Tournament. What's he back from?
It's just his back, actually.
Oh, it's like
the behind side of him is the term. It's just kind of.
You know, he comes up with all sorts of ways to have tournaments. So congrats to him. Looks like Raynor took down Gung Fu Banda in the finals. Third place match, Mana took out Bly. Yeah, check it out on Base Trade TV. All right, Eric won the pizza tournament, the Pizza Pie bi-weekly.
Jeez
and he
Louise.
defeated Star
Oh
Killer
my God.
3-0 in the finals.
Denying Star Killer's
this
21st pizza,
21.
too.
That's screwed up.
Can we? This is a unique opportunity. Now, Future, I see you sitting at 8 pizzas. We've wanted to know for a long time. You were hungry for the 8, but we have not seen you win a 9th pizza in a little while here. What's kind of going on?
I don't know. I just haven't really been playing any tournaments recently. I've just been kind of like relaxing mentally and just playing other games, practicing a little bit of StarCraft.
On the Pylon show, we asked hard-hitting questions, and we know that you've been playing tournaments because we just got done talking about you playing in the Apprentice League. So when you say you're not playing tournaments and winning pizzas, is it true that we can just say that you're afraid of Starkiller and intimidated by his ability to consume that amount of calories?
I guess we'll have to see at Cheeseadelphia this week. I'm going to be playing him there.
That's what I like to see. See, that's the wrestler answer. I like that. We'll see at Cheeseadelphia.
Is the question, though.
What's that?
Starkiller signed up.
I think so. That's what.
Yeah,
Future
Starkiller's in my bracket, so I'll play him.
If someone does the math for him on the prize pool to pizza ratio, he might make a run. We'll see. But congrats to Eric for another pizza win. That brings him up to 2. Of course, it's going to take 36 weeks in a row of winning to catch up to Starkiller.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because it is a bi-weekly tournament. So good luck, Eric. We'll see if you can do it. All right. Return of the Icy Far with Pig. This week, it's We Need a Billy. It's getting 1 unit out and keeping it alive all game long, giving it hockey and stuff like that. Send your replays in to on Blue 95 for Pig's show. Thermi Cup number 3. This is a tournament that Uthermal sometimes hosts over in the Netherlands. Check it out at theparty_NL. It's from the 19th to 21st of April, and it's got a really nice prize pool of 1.5k euro spread over the top 8.
That's huge.
And yeah, no, that's awesome. It's so cool to see Uthermal doing stuff like this. So definitely check out the Thermi Cup if you are anywhere in that area. I know Europe's really small, so probably all of you guys can go. All right. Cheeseadelphia number 9. It's coming right up April 20th, featuring a $2,500 prize pool. You definitely want to check this out. Cheeseadelphia is their Twitch channel. So many top players go to that. We talk about that a lot.
I think we'll ask Future about it later. You're not going to that, are you, Astrea?
I am not. It's too far.
Yeah, it's way too far. Future, we'll talk when we get to you later. I think we'll ask you all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. The Quebec StarCraft 2 League 3 is also on April 20th, competing with Cheeseadelphia. Look, we live in such a time that so many tournaments are popping up. They're competing with each other once again.
Yeah.
That's going to be at Meltdown Montreal. We reported on the last one last time. They have the same type of thing again. Free lodging and meal offered for players traveling over 50 kilometers to get to the event. Go to the Facebook page and check it out. If you live too far away from Philadelphia, but closer to Montreal, this might be the tournament for you. What about you, Astrea? Are you going to the Quebec League?
Sounds even further.
I didn't even know about it till just now.
Well, that's why you got to watch This Week in StarCraft. All right. Well, definitely check that out, guys. All right. The King of the... Oh, wait, this is King of the North, right? KOTN? King of the Nerds? No, I don't know. Anyways, it's by ESChamp. Check out ESChamp.com/KOTN5. The playoffs are going to take place in Toronto on June 9th. So it looks like they have a little LAN finals. Really cool. Prize pool of $3,000. Looks like they have all sorts of qualifiers coming up. If you're interested in that, check out the show notes once again. Home Story Cup 19 has been announced. The 27th through 30th of June. We will definitely be covering that super in-depth as it comes up, as it's one of the most fun tournaments of the year. Do you know if you're going yet, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't announced me yet, but they got me all booked up. I'm going to go stay with Roddy, and then I'm going to go party there.
Sick. Cannot wait. Fun tournament, and we'll go over that. We'll have a Home Story Cup episode right before, no doubt. All right, the Africa World tournament, you know, those 4-man tournaments that keep on coming up from Laughing Games. The next one going to have Braddock, who is out here in the Pro House right now. Cool. Special, Solar, and Creator all playing. Nice little group. It's going to be on April 5th. Well, that was 13 days ago. So I guess that already occurred.
Probably.
Go check out the VODs on Laughing Games on Africa TV. All right, there's going to be the Hellraiser Open Cup leading up to the WCS Spring event on... Wait, March 5th? We're in April. What is... I think that this date might be wrong. Anyways...
The R is backwards, so it could be some kind of different March.
Possibly. All right. Anyways, well, maybe we have the wrong thing written down there. Maybe that already occurred. I don't know. There is a new StarCraft 2 patch out. Nothing really balance-wise is here, but they do have the Swan Machine bundle. There's a new announcer from Taiwan, which is apparently like a very famous newsman that doesn't even play StarCraft, but has an announcer pack before Roddy.
And that's
also,
and Roddy, we got to call into question his passion at this point in time. Like, we're getting random news people in Taiwan before Roddy. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, if you buy the Swan pack, you'll get to be able to put my the Thing face, the global emote, into StarCraft 2.
Really?
I kid you not.
Is that how that works?
It's one of the sprays in there.
Oh,
we'll actually see that art coming up in a page or two here.
There you go.
Nice, nice. Okay. Also, it looks like they fixed some pathing error on King's Cove. There's some user interface stuff, some stuff with the war chest. They fixed a bunch of bugs in the co-op missions. If you're interested in all that, you can definitely check it out in the show notes once again. World Cyber Games returns July 18th through 21st in Xi'an, China. And it was a long 6-year hiatus since we've had that game or that tournament. It looks like, I believe that this year they will have a StarCraft 2 exhibition match there, like a small tournament, rather than the big qualifiers for like the other games. I'm fairly certain that's how that's going down, but a lot of good games there, including Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. So very cool to see that tournament coming back.
Clash Royale champion gets $50,000.
Sounds about right.
Isn't this exactly WCG? Like, just looking at that, like, Honor of Kings, first place, $80,000. What is, without even knowing what Honor of Kings is, and I really apologize because there's going to be one person in the chat that's like, that's my favorite game in the whole world. That's a phone game, isn't it?
Oh, I would imagine.
Honor of Kings?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
Okay. Well, that's WCG. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, this is definitely part of their business model. So cheers to them. Welcome back, I would say. Let's see here. What else do we have? Rotterdam has a new series called Roddy and Friends. And he kind of just goes over games of
I think you skipped a whole bunch. Yeah, you skipped 2 things. Bro.
Well, those were up above in the patch. Okay.
Yeah, but this is your opportunity to talk about my face.
Oh, there's the thing.
I will say this right now because a lot of pro gamers watch our show. Not parting though. This deal is not for parting. The first person to spray my base or a game with me of that face, I will tier 2 sub to them. They also have to be a streamer. So Astrea, you have to start streaming, you son of a bitch. Okay.
Got it.
Or I'll just give you $10 in person, I guess. I'll real life stream a sub to you. There it is.
Also, the Mr. Shang announcer pack. You can see beautiful picture.
Oh my god,
Mr. Shang. Very cheap to get that announcer pack. I'm gonna buy it. Give that a try.
I want it. Cobra, do you have this open? You probably don't. I'm putting you on the spot. They usually have sample stuff. I just wonder what he says. It's okay if we don't have it.
That's okay.
I can look all that up.
It's okay. Yeah, don't worry about Cobra.
So we got the Rotterdam show. Already went over that. In Depth, that's my new show with no regret. We just go over replays in a very nerdy and deep fashion.
Is that why you're not covering Roddy's show very well? Is because the next segment was your own show with no regret? Here.
Well, I gotta talk to Alessandra about putting mine on top there.
Let's do this. Astrea, can you please talk about this segment with the Roddy show, and then we'll have Future do yours, so that we're non-partial here. Astrea, okay. Can you talk about Roddy and Friends real quick?
It's a show called Roddy and Friends, and it's really great. I would watch it.
Thank you. Excellent job.
Damn.
Now scroll down.
It is the start of a new YouTube show that I'm going to do called Roddy and Friends. The idea is very simple. We're going to pick a player and then we're going to cast 7 of their games. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, and I definitely wanted to cast some games on YouTube, but I could never really figure out what exactly I wanted to cast.
I can't pay attention to this with a shirt on. That's the problem I'm having. Like, I don't.
I know, right?
There's too much clothes going on here.
And you could tell too. He looked around for his one StarCraft hoodie.
He did.
Took off his football shirt, put on the StarCraft hoodie just to make.
The idea is just to get a little better idea of how they play, what they like to do, and obviously provide some fun facts as well.
Week 1 is a game with Goblin, by the way, so it should just be called Roddy and Friend, I guess, right?
A little bit of extra spice rather than just only gameplay.
Oh,
all right. Thank you, Matt.
It's going to be a nice mix.
Goblin's going to get like a top 4 in a WCS 3 years
Someday.
from now. And that's going to be the epitome of Roddy's life right there. He's going to finally.
He'll be super happy. All right, let's talk about the next one. Future, go ahead and take away this next show, please.
This next show is called In Depth. It goes in depth with Artosis and No Regret. They look at all sorts of kind of games.
Yeah.
High quality. You'd be hard pressed to find another show like it.
You need to be careful, sir. If you keep hosting that well, you're going to lose out on your pro gaming career and find yourself on a talk show. Dan, why? Can we go back to the icon there, Cobra, real quick?
Mm-hmm.
What was your thought behind the in-depth icon, Cobra, on the page? Why is the I blue, part of the P, and the TH? Like, what are you actually trying to say here? Because I read this as I depth, right? I don't know what that means.
That actually is the name of the show. Is I Depth.
It's a great show. You guys check it out.
Like, something I would do is say I Depth. Like, who's that?
It did get 10 downvotes, so if you don't check out the show, I don't blame you. There's 10 people on YouTube that kind of dove into this and were like, not for me.
No,
I don't
no
like
good.
it. When are you guys going to cover Goblin, though? I guess is my first question.
Ooh, it's a hard one, man. Been going over mostly pro gamer reps. So
yeah, well,
maybe in the future when he becomes what Roddy believes he can be. All right. This week in Brood War, STPL round 4, Seoul defeated NetWars 4-2. You can check this out on twitch.tv/KicksSD. The Undermined podcast. This is the podcast about like AIs that are within Brood War. It's actually a pretty good scene, a pretty big size scene.
Oh yeah.
They had Antigua and Dave Churchill on this week. And yeah, you can check that out on makingcomputersdothings.com. The Caster Muse Star League Season 1. We had the groups all finish up very recently, like 1 week ago. It's we have a lot of these things that are like called BJ leagues, broadcast jockey leagues from Africa TV, where people are just hosting tournaments with top Brood War players. So there's like constant action like that going on. This is one of many, so you can check that out on freakatv.com. All right, this week in Awesome, these Italian commentators, when Rainer ended up winning, did you guys see this? Are we going to play this clip or no?
I don't think that's... yeah, we do have it.
It's pretty good. Let's play it.
Cobra's not prepared. You're putting Cobra on his toes. I like that. This is the week we challenge Cobra.
Dove va segnano commentano. Ha bisogno del supporto di tutti voi, quindi te che non stai facendo niente vai subito a spammare questo canale, il canale dei Clash, dove va segnano commentano la grandissima finale del WCS Winter. Oh,
Mamma mia! They actually say that. Wow. I didn't know that.
Some very excited guys. Looks like a lot of fun. So congrats to Rainer and them. All right. Also this week in Awesome, it is the 15th anniversary of SK Telecom T1 Pro Gaming Team. Of course, this team was made out of a team that Boxer made. It is probably the most legendary esports team of all time in the entire world. So very cool. It looks like they have a lot of clips from top-end StarCraft players that have been on the team over time. And yeah, that's I guess you could check that out on their Facebook. I'm not sure if it has English subtitles or not, considering it's a Korean team and they've had like 3 non-Korean members ever. Oh yeah, they do have it with an English one. That's awesome.
The good old days of Colossus versus Colossus like that.
Oh yeah, it's like 6
great.
Colossus beating 5 Colossus. That was the best.
Ugh.
Well, okay. So congratulations to them. Also, Tasteless has opened up his own podcast, and it is not directly StarCraft related. It's Tasteless kind of just talking to people. A lot of esports people are on it, it seems. Well, at least episode 1 with Paperthin. So you can check that out. The link is within the show notes, so you can go ahead and click in there if you want to hear him on the Pylon Show. Not going to happen. You want to hear him on the Tasteless podcast. Has happened. You can go do that right now instead of watching this if you.
Dan, are we ever going to see you on the Tasteless podcast show?
I think it's going to start too late in the day.
It might be too late in the afternoon. You got a lot to do.
Yeah. I only like to do things like between 6 a.m. and noon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After that, I'm pretty much done for the day.
I can't blame you. Like later in the day is when light diminishes and you're more likely to get hit by cars and stuff like that. Like I don't.
Oh, no. It gets scary out there, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, afternoon, the temperature goes down too, you know.
It drops. It drops right off.
Yeah.
And that's when criminals come out as well. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, if you want to do a podcast later in the day and risk your life that way, I think that's really brave and cool. But for us, we try to keep it safe and family friendly.
I'm not a night owl, so it's hard for me.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm not going to promise one way or the other. All right. Also, there is a new content creators forum. I'm not sure how to call this on teamliquid.net, where it's like things like the Pylon Show, basically. Threads for those, so they aren't just sitting around in like the general forum or something. So if you want to see content that is not having its home on Team Liquid, I guess that's going to be the place that you are going to go to. All right. Is that the whole week in StarCraft? I think so, right? Because we're going to talk about WCS Winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Astrea Future, was that one of the, how was that for you guys? Did you like that segment?
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
You guys are awesome. Really appreciate having you on here. All right. Thank you, Dan. By the way, I always take this opportunity. I had to do This Week in StarCraft when Dan was gone, and it's harder than it looks. Dan does a great job. We're lucky to have him. That segment with me would be real shit. It's pretty good with him.
Well, it was in the first couple of weeks, which is why I took it over.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm like complimenting you and stuff like that. You just punch me in the throat and throw me over, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I found my niche, man. This is it right here.
That's fine. I like that. All right, guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, as it were. Let's talk about WCS Winter first. So we had our 1-year anniversary episode. If you haven't seen that, go to Artosis TV on YouTube, or if you're already subscribed, you can see it there. Or if you're a patron, you can see it there as well. It was a great episode, but we did not talk about a lot of stuff that had happened the week before. So if you're wondering why we're talking about it now, there you go. WCS Winter concluded. We had 2 champions. I don't want to say they were unlikely because I think it was fairly predictable. It was kind of a toss-up for the final there, I would say. Neeb did overcome Scarlet in a pretty forgetful series. If you didn't watch that, you didn't miss much. And then Raynor was able to topple Serral. It was cool in the result-wise, and the games were not bad, obviously, but it was not, in my opinion, the mega epic ZVZ we've had from these guys before. But no real excuses to be made. I think Raynor played really cool. Serral didn't make tremendous mistakes, and it was really puzzling or anything like that. It's just that Raynor is now good enough to kind of do this. But it was a unique format, right? We had that round robin 8-person thing, which determined the seeding. So Scarlet literally just played the finals, and Raynor just played the finals. And then people like Astrea here, if they were going to continue on, had to win the entire thing. So that was kind of interesting. So I kind of want to start there. Astrea, you can go beyond this too. You can talk about the round of 8. You have that pro gamer experience and mindset for WCS Winter. Why don't you, if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit about how you felt WCS Winter was, format-wise, how it was produced, how it was for you as a player.
Well, the best part was the pro FFA, right?
Was that your favorite? Oh, your guys actually was offline too. Who won?
Yeah,
by the way, who won the
We
jacket?
actually still played one, and Neeb and Masa teamed up and wrecked us.
Oh.
And we all played random, and they got their main races or something.
Oh.
But anyways, the experience overall was fantastic. I'm a bit spoiled maybe because this is my first premier event in a long time. Since I was in WCS Premier League in 2014, but it didn't really feel the same way to me as this one did. Since I feel like this one I really worked hard, I trained hard. And I was really happy when I made it to the round of 6. And this is the only thing I've been thinking about for the last week before I went to this event.
Cool.
And made all my preparations and stuff. And then, I thought the hotel was nice. They did a fantastic job hosting us while we were there. And I was actually really shy at first. Wasn't really talking to many people because I don't know, like these people are like really good pro gamers. Like it's kind of scary, but I don't know. It's surprising to me how they're just really just people, and it was really fun hanging out with them after like a day after I got past my nerves. Yeah, I wish I could have hung out. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what's your offline experience like? Have you been to other LANs and competed and stuff, or?
So it's basically 2014. I got Premier League, and that was like I was offline and I played like 2 matches and lost, and I just went home like immediately.
Oh, okay.
I went to 2 Cheesadelphias, and then this, and that's basically it.
Very cool. So you said they took good care of you. I guess again from the kind of pro gamer perspective, because a lot of people are really finicky, right? So did you have adequate training places? Did they feed you? Like you felt pretty taken care of as a competitor, or how was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess I have low standards compared to other people. I mean, I practice on a laptop, and I have like this 60 hertz monitor, and I think most other people complain if they don't have their 144 hertz monitor. But to me, it really doesn't make a difference.
Holy
and
cow.
I don't know.
So at home, you're playing on a laptop onto a 60 hertz monitor. That's what you said?
Yeah.
Is it CRT?
No, it's not a CRT.
Okay, I just wanted.
Not that bad.
That'd be pretty comical.
Well, how is the format for you though? Because there's an online qualifier, and then from there you have to keep going to that round of 8. The round of 8 was a little bit weird. If you could walk us through that, what are your thoughts on the format for WCS Winter?
I was actually a really big fan of it. I think it's the most fair format that there is so far, since you get to play everyone else. It's not like the only person you can blame is yourself if you lose in the round of 8, right? That's it. And I think it has the potential to create a really hype round of 6. Like if I had beaten Cham like planned, and then beat Masa like planned, and then beat Time like planned, that would have been pretty hype, right?
Yeah, that'd be a big run that people would be talking about. Okay, so cool. So you liked it at the end of the day. Even the round of 6, and you're at the bottom seed, you did not mind that. You thought that there was a chance for a lot of hype and a lot of excitement there. You didn't think it was kind of an impossible thing to do.
It would be really, really hard, but I was fine with it. I liked it.
Could you?
I was yeah.
Were there players that weren't? You don't need to name names, but we don't know. Like, and this is one of the questions that was asked of us a lot. Were there players that really hated this format that you know of, or anything, or is everyone pretty okay with it for the most part?
I think a few players were not the biggest fans of it. One complaint is that it's if you do happen to make the run from the very bottom, like if I had to happen to make the run, I would be really tired compared to like Scarlet or Neeb. If I got there, they'd just be playing fresh. And also, I would have had to wake up at 6 a.m. and Scarlet wakes up cool at 8 a.m. and just like strolls into the studio with full night's sleep. Mm-hmm. So it's like the odds are not only that you have to beat these really good players, but that you'd be tired and just played all these matches going into the next match.
Okay, well, thank you for your feedback on that. Future, I have to apologize. I didn't look it up beforehand. I know you did try to qualify for WCS Winter, right?
No, I qualified.
Well, what I mean is, I guess the later stages, but
finals.
If you don't mind, just give your thoughts on your qualification process, who you lost to, and was it a good process for you, or did you have complaints?
I was really excited to play in the tournament because for a while now I've been really like I only really started playing StarCraft 2 and Legacy of the Void. Like I played a bit in Heartless Swarm, but only like a season or 2. So, and I look back at the old WCS systems, and there was like a WCS system from early 2016 with everyone together, kind of with like all the Chinese, Taiwanese, Latin America, and all that. So I was like really hoping to have that. And then WCS Winter was announced, and I was really excited. So like overall, I was really excited for the format, the tournament, and everything. But to speak a little bit on the actual games, on the surface level, I don't want to be a little bland, but like literally nothing went my way. Like everything I planned went like worst case possible. Like I've had preparation against Probe, and he did nothing that I thought he would do. And then I watched his series against Time, and he did everything I thought he was going to do against Time. Like literally down to my Widowmine placement, he would have lost his Oracle. Like it was just on the surface level, it was just like really unfortunate. It was just one of those days. But a little bit more psychological. Like my confidence was kind of broken before that because this was like right after they put through those 5 Protoss buffs, like the week before, and everyone I talked to was just like really negative and balance whining. So like my confidence kind of broke psychologically. So like I still completely my fault, but it was just kind of rough with a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, I got you. And just to kind of feel, before I turn over to Dan, if he has some questions, but for you two, we'll get to the subject. Actually, you know what? I'll save that question for later because one of the subjects we're going to throw at you guys and want to talk to you about is being young pro gamers and competing. And WCS Winter obviously is a huge fixture of that, but I don't want to spoil our later topics. Dan, you got any questions for him about WCS Winter?
Well, specifically about Winter, right? It replaced the first event that we had for WCS in previous years. And the thing is, I know for me growing up as a very competitive StarCraft player, like offline events were kind of what drove me, why I played. And I never really cared about online events. But then as I've gotten older now and I look at what WCS Winter is, I personally look at it and think that it's like a very quality ad because it gives like a longer time for you to get your name out there, a longer time for you to play. You know, it's a longer tournament. It's not just a weekend you go to, lose and leave. So I just wonder, do you guys prefer having something like WCS Winter to an additional LAN event? Or would you prefer that, you know, there was just like, you know, WCS Austin or whatever this year instead?
Max, do you want to touch on that first?
Sure. I mean, I think I like WCS Winter a lot. Considering that almost everything else is a LAN, I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was good. I don't know what else to add to that, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a good mixture, honestly. Like, I really enjoy playing more than just NA players in WCS, and more than just usually. So I think it's a nice balance between online and offline, because I still prefer offline, since I think some of the places where I have confidence as a player, obviously after Cheesadelphia, is like I think I'm very strong at LAN, like I'm able to perform. So I still like playing at LAN, so I think that's where I can play my best. But it is also nice having a long format where I can prepare and stuff. I enjoy both, honestly. I think it's a nice mix to have both.
They handle latency when, like, let's say, so for instance, in your group you're playing against Probe, who might have been stateside by that time.
Yeah, he was in California during that.
Let's say he was Australia though, right? Which he could have.
We would just play West.
Oh, really? So it'd be better for you than him?
Yeah, a lot better for me.
And that's how they would handle. Again, I know Time was stateside as well, but let's say he was in China. Would you just play on West server there too?
Yeah, we just play West because it's not really a better solution. Since if we play on KR, I have 250 ping. That's just like, just as bad.
And he has 250 ping or what?
I'm not sure exactly what his ping is from China. I'm not familiar. I heard it was like something like 180 or 200, but I'm not. That could be wrong.
So for the Americas qualifiers and as much as online play was done, it was just all on West server if you had an Australian or Chinese player?
Yeah, I mean, I tried forcing West on NA players, but they wouldn't let me.
Well, like the NA players wouldn't play West as well? What are you saying?
Yeah, because I'm East Coast, and there's also East Coast people. I tried forcing it on them, but they wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's right. You are. So what about you, Astrea? Like, do you just play West servers? I mean, you are obviously in California.
Yeah.
But...
I just remembered that fact. And yeah, I'm California, so I had the advantage on literally everyone. It was great.
So they just default to West if you're East Coast, West Coast, or whatever, Australia, China.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in the round of 16 I had to play Kelger. He was in Europe. I could have forced West on him, but I was nice and let him play US Central. But he was still with like 200 ping and I had like 50.
Yeah, wow. I have thoughts on that. Interesting. That seems really fucked up for the God. I mean, again, as American players, of course you guys don't have complaints, but I haven't heard anything from, like, they don't have alternatives, right? I know you can try to qualify through others, or I believe you can, right? Can Time compete in a different qualifier?
So for this, they had a Chinese qualifier for 4 seeds to WCS. And then they could also compete in the ladder qualifier. That's kind of why the whole match fixing thing with the Chinese players on the ladder happened, because they wanted more Chinese players to get in, because there's a set limit to only 4, so Chinese players can only play in the Chinese qualifiers. So if Cyan, I forget the names. It was, I don't want to say the names, I forget what they were. But if those players got through the ladder, then that would have added more spots for the Chinese qualifiers, basically.
But the Chinese and I apologize for kind of walking this through, but this is like, I did not know this actually. The Chinese players that qualify just go deeper into the WCS Americas qualifier, right? Like,
yeah,
you just qualify for WCS Winter.
Yeah, so WCS Winter, but that's what I mean, right? Like they did it. But they play on the America side is where I'm getting my brain locked up here is what I'm saying, right? They don't play on the European side. There's 2 WCS Winters essentially.
Yeah, it's on NA. Everything was thrown into NA, and then Europe had their own thing.
Wow.
Which is also,
Share it if you want. You don't have
I mean,
to.
Europe's getting the long end of the stick, but I mean, I understand they have so many full-time players compared to NA,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. But
yeah, I didn't think about it from that perspective as well, right? Like they cramp together the C scene, China.
On top of the fact they also have 2 LANs in Europe now, and we only have 1 in NA.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of feel, it's a little unfortunate there's only 1 LAN, but
the Europe pro scene is basically the Terrans of the world, right? It's like they've got how there's like the Terran Zerg whining alliance to fuck over Protoss. Like that's almost what I feel like Europe does, where they talk about how strong they are more than play strongly. Where they actually, this is tell me I'm wrong, right? It's like, yeah, you guys do have Cyril, that's really sick, but it's like there's a lot of like heavy talk about how much stronger it is in the NA scene, and I think it is overall a little bit stronger, but maybe not quite as much as
I mean, I've thought about this a lot, and I've talked about it a lot with a lot of NA players. Like, what it really just comes down to is that there's no real incentive as an NA player to invest full time, because it's just 9 times out of 10 it's just not worth it to do it, right?
Interesting.
However, in Europe, their mentality and the way they think about things is a little bit different. Like, you look at Europe, there's probably like 40 or so full-time players. I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot. In NA, there's literally 2, just Scarlet and Neep. And like, I'm even in a situation where I could invest a lot of time into StarCraft, but I just personally don't find it worth it. Like, my situation's changed a lot recently, and I actually have a ton of time now, but like, I just would rather maintain, keep working on my education and keep myself mentally healthy is what I care more about.
And I guess that's a great, thank you for sharing that. I guess my question would be, with the WCS system as is, I think am I hearing correctly that a big kind of mental roadblock for you is that it seems European centric, like it's 2 tournaments in Kiev, 1 in Montreal, and then qualifying for that you have to beat Chinese and Australian players. It's not very American emphasized. Is that what you're saying?
So the beating the Chinese player and all that stuff was just for WCS Winter. Like, it's back to the normal challenger setup where it's just your regions. But as a whole, like, there's 2 WCS events in Europe, 1 in NA, and then WCS. There was WCS EU and then WCS International, whatever. So it does just seem like it's, as I said, it's completely understandable why Blizzard does it, right? Like, that you look at how many full-time Europeans there are compared to NA players, but it doesn't support the case for why you should be full-time as an NA player. Is my main point. There's really not a good argument.
Do you have thoughts on that, Astrea?
Extra event make sense for the EU players? Because I think it never makes sense for anyone to try to be a pro StarCraft player unless you just really love StarCraft, because it's too fucking hard. But I just wonder if like that, if we switched it around and put those stats in reverse, would you look at this and be like, it's time for me to be a pro full time in NA?
It's hard to say. I think it would definitely impact my decision, like in my current situation. Yeah, it's hard to say, but it would definitely help the case for it if there's 2 events.
Okay. What do you think, Astrea?
I've never thought about that actually. I don't know why there are more EU pros than NA pros. I don't know if one extra WCS event in EU would be the main reason though. That seems not quite right to me.
Do you think of yourself as more of like a casual pro, like you're just very good at the game, you've got time, you're going for that, or is StarCraft 2 like your dive in for making money and this is how you're going to support yourself?
Well, actually, I just recently graduated from college, so for now, I'm not doing anything other than StarCraft. I don't know if I can make enough playing StarCraft that I don't have to do anything else, but for now, I'm kind of just chilling, and I guess I'd consider myself a pro right now, a full-time pro. This is what I do.
I just want to clarify. I wasn't saying that because there's 2 Europe events, 1 NA event, that's why there's more European full-time. I think that I'm not really sure what that comes down to. I think it's just the way their culture is compared to America. Because like in America, you're always told to go to college, focus on your education, and it's much more, there's a lot more people who are just, they party a lot more and they're a lot more social in America, it seems. So it just seems like a culture difference. But I don't really have an answer for why there's a lot more European pros.
That's actually a really interesting thing that you bring up, the cultural difference, because back in StarCraft 1, at least, it was perceived completely differently. Every like full-time non-Korean player, like all the Europeans were really concerned about completing their degrees, and the Americans were mostly just super all in with it. like the Americans and Canadians, like everyone like really put their nose to the grindstone and trained. And then like you'd hear from all the top Europeans like, oh, Mondragon always, I gotta make sure I get this degree, you know, and it felt like the reverse of that culturally. So
yeah, that seems really interesting, actually. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, and also just to note, it's kind of interesting with how the different regions approach the game. Like with Europe, like they're so perfect with how they try to play the game, and within NA and Korea, it's a lot more force mistakes out of your opponent, a lot more wild, a lot more crazy, and it's just it's kind of interesting how that happens. I'm not sure really what the reason is, but it's still interesting to note.
Well, I think it's I like that you're going. I think it's pretty clear that like Europeans are just less creative and not as intelligent, I guess, is a
Actually, it's kind of a funny thing because I remember at the very beginning of the StarCraft 2 beta, it was exactly like that too. I was shocked watching European tournaments because they'd be like expanding and teching at the same time. And I'm like, you guys don't have this shit mapped out. Why do you think you can do that? And NA would be all rushing and Korea would be all rushing because it was the beginning of the game. And it was like, yeah, no, you make roaches and you go kill them. And then Demago was like, hey guys, here's a Baneling bus. And he just fucking won every tournament for like 2 months over there. Because everyone was trying to play for like this magical late game, long game. I don't know. It was a weird thing, but it definitely existed back then as well.
I also think it's worth it. It's something I've thought about personally, and I don't want to. I want to be careful with this, just because I know it's very personal to like the top European Terrans, like Marine Lord, Euthermal, Hera Marine, and all of them. I don't want to be too rude, but it does seem like they've gotten the short end of it with the race they chose, with the way that the European approach to Terran is not the way that I see sufficient to play Terran. Like I think how you want to play Terran and the way that the Koreans have always played, it's very aggressive, very gambly, and just in your face. And it just seems like the way that Europeans think about the game, it doesn't really mesh well with Terran. I think that, and especially when you look at the statistics with esports earning results, Terran is awful in Europe, right? Like it's just the way it is. And I mean, they probably have their own reasons. It could be balance, it could be whatever it is. But that's one thing that I think you could look at, like that I personally look at, where it's just like it doesn't look like their way of playing the game fits Terran too well, at least the way that I see it. You're
already one of my favorite guests because right now we're having a Terran complain about the meta of Terran in Europe, which is like.
I want to be very careful because
I know I'm teasing you, man. I appreciate that you're saying like that's actually what we kind of go for. Is right now what you're saying is just the philosophy of Terran play. And what's also fun about this conversation, and this is true in other games as well, is play styles are regionalistic, right? Like it's always been that Koreans play a different brand of Terran in particular, but even Zerg and Protoss, to be honest with you. And then NA has always been more gambly and wild and like look at our players that rise up. Scarlet is extremely kind of abstract and weird in her play. Neeb is the more straightforward one, but even Neeb in a best of 5 will bust out a weird ass all in or do something a little bit different. And he's probably the most European of all of us, I would say.
Yeah, there's like a joke with the NA people I talk to, like they would just say Neeb's not actually NA, he's European, just because the way he plays.
Yeah. Or he's a robot. We're not entirely sure. Could be.
Yeah, I guess he kind of does go more towards the perfection end of the spectrum compared to other NA players. Like the more I think about it, the more this all kind of clicks. And Scarlet's been in Korea forever, and her style is certainly more Korean than it is NA or EU.
And before we upset too many people, because anytime you start questioning programmers, by the way, we're about to get 150 tweets from when they wake up tomorrow. Very angry Europeans. Take this for the grain of salt. There's obviously going to be exceptions to absolutely everything we're saying, and we're speaking in generalities. And I appreciate that Future is questioning and even just saying it feels like maybe play styles are something to evaluate in different regions.
And that's also works on this same idea. Works the same with Korean Zergs. Like it just seems like the Korean Zergs are just unlucky, man. Like they just got the wrong race. Like it seems like with Zerg, like Zerg has all ins. I'm specifically talking about TVZ. Like Zerg has all ins, but like none of them actually work. Like they work, but like none of them actually work. Like so, it's not really something you can consistently do. So Zerg is extremely limited with that when in preparation. On top of the fact, if you have a preparation format like GSL for the last 9 years, you have this guy who's trying to find a way to beat you over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and he's going to find everything to beat you, and he is going to find his own way. Everyone has their own way of beating you. Like Zerg just gets for Koreans, it just sucks that they picked Zerg. Like I feel bad for them.
Pretty cool. Sounds like Future hasn't been Nidus yet. I'm excited for your next week's.
Yeah, I mean Nidus is the exception, but like still, it's
Future. It's a pretty good one, by the way. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Otherwise, you're talking about like we had some weird eras, right? Like
specifically TVZ, like Zerg doesn't really have all lines. I can't speak as much about ZVP, but
Cass is already writing like a 17 tweet chain at you right now, but otherwise you should be good to go. Well, thank you guys. That was a good topic. So that was WCS Winter. Like we said, it was to wrap it up and put a bow on it, I suppose. The viewership was pretty good. For the NA side, it was not very good in particular, and people were kind of worried, but then the European broadcast on Sunday, for whatever reason, was very good. For that kind of an event, it was hitting 30 or 40,000 viewership concurrent, and a lot of people are checking it out. So that's okay. For that
kind
that
of was a time zone thing, or the players, like why did it take a while for it to warm up?
I think it's a multitude of stuff. So I always am really critical of the lack of advertising for these kind of things. Like I don't know who or what, but like it feels like the companies I work with, it's Blizzard and Games Workshop, some philosophy exists inside that if you tell people too much about your tournament that you're putting on, you'll like really upset people and scare them away from the content. I think that's so completely the opposite. Obviously, you don't like literally get robot phone calls to everyone that you can or something like that, but like an email, have it on Twitch front page, have it on your launcher, send out like a tweet each day off of your Twitter, like all these kinds of things. But what ends up happening with a lot of these events is they're like 2 tweets, maybe it's on the launcher, and oh shoot, we didn't get front page. And then they're like, I hope it does well, but they're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even though this event was less expensive, it's still a giant chunk of change. So the difference between that 30,000 people watching and 40 or 50 is bashing them over the head and making it very obvious that this thing's going on, not just the day of or the day before, but like 5 days before and every day from that point forward. I'm literally sitting, in meetings with GW all the time, like trying to get them to understand this, and we just commentated an event, and they literally, it was like 2 things. And I was like, hey, what about your Instagram? People love pictures of models. And they're like, yeah, we should do that. Maybe in 2020. And I'm like, all right. But Blizzard too. I won't name names, but I've talked to people, and there's like weird stuff. Like they made a separate Twitter account because they're worried about the StarCraft main Twitter being too esports heavy, and putting out too much esports tweets, because there's like StarCraft fans that if they get esports tweets, they'll end up getting upset at Blizzard. That is something that was actually told to me.
If you're a StarCraft fan that isn't into esports, aren't you only a StarCraft fan for like this long because then you've beaten the single player and you're done?
So here's the part. I know we make our jokes, but there's actually just as many. In fact, there's more people playing like co-op. There's plenty of people that aren't into esports. My point on this would be, if we had StarCraft events every weekend and the Twitter was just constantly spamming esports, sure, that would be kind of shitty. But we have a WCS event maybe once a month. I'm talking about 4 or 5 days before each of those. You do a tweet or 2. I'm not talking about 5 a day. And you know what? I was about to say I'd find it hard to believe that some people would be upset. But here's my actual point. People suck. So the 3 people you do actually upset, they're not worth the hundreds or thousands of people that you actually help get to that viewership and get to watch that, because they needed the reminders. They needed to set the schedule. And if I'm wrong, maybe I am, let's try it. Just fucking try it for one event where we just constantly advertise it and talk about it and see if it has an impact, because that's what I want. Right now, it's just like weird, like, I don't know, it's like 10 years into it. I don't want to tweet too much. There's a guy in Ohio that really doesn't like it when we tweet about it. He gets really upset and like, fuck the guy in Ohio. Advertise it. Anyways, that's the hill that I will die on. I already have died, but what has died can never die again, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So thank you guys. Let's move on to WCS Spring. This should be a pretty quick one. It's coming up this weekend. We're doing some commentating. I'll be flying out Friday night, and it's right out of that studio again, but this is building up to our mid-May WCS Kiev, which is coming up. And I should have checked this out, guys, but I'm a shitty host. Did you both qualify?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, very good. I actually knew that. That was my test to you guys.
Do you guys know what you've done lately?
To be fair, Astrea did not know his age when we asked him at the beginning of the show. So. Congratulations, that's awesome. Can you guys? Do we have a picture of the groups? Cobra, do you have that ready to go?
I got a clear picture in my mind. I got screwed over, man. Like my group sucks.
You got a tough one.
Yeah. I have the best Zerg in the tournament in my group and the best Terran in the tournament.
So that's not the picture, Cobra.
This you got Rob in there too, man.
And Rob. Rob is very good as well. Like the thing about Rob is he plays like a Korean without knowing he plays like a Korean. So like,
well, he's in the chat. Careful, don't compliment him too much. He'll.
I mean, I've had many arguments with Rob.
Yeah. Well, who hasn't? Let's look at the group here. All right, so yeah, you got Masa, Silky, and Rob. That is tough.
Like Silky is the best Zerg in this tournament, and then Masa is the best Terran in this tournament, and then
wow, so Silky's better than TLO and Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
He's kind of an NA secret though, right? Like he had the one turn where he beat Nee, but since then. And Silky's in the chat too, so don't compliment him too much. Careful. I mean, maybe that's what you're doing.
Montreal, like we should have had a group where him and I, we would have had a first place match, but then I choked against Mon. I lost one too because he 2-0'd Hera Marine. But he's really good.
Well, high praise. And then Masa, right? He used to be a TVT sniper. How's your TVT feeling?
My TVT is very strong right now. I think I'm favored against him right now.
Well, do you think you can come out in top 2 in this group? I know it's really hard and stuff. But
I think I'll finish first. I think, but
oh my god, I love this.
Damn,
I remember being 17, dude. It was so great. Random boners, like indestructibility. I love it. Good for you. It is a tough group, and it's cool seeing Rob in there, by the way, too. Rob is a hard worker. A little bit of a shout out to him. There's some of these NA guys that I think a lot of people in the bigger scene don't know. And I would say Rob is one of those.
I don't know who Rob is, actually.
Rob's been playing for like 9 years, and he's just been at like a really high level for 9 years, but he's just had trouble performing in tournament, and he's finally gotten past that.
It
seems.
Well, not entirely past. It's just the
not
first
entirely,
round.
But
it's the first round of WCS Spring. Let's not get too excited here, okay?
I'm just, it's a big achievement for him. I'm proud of him.
It is cool.
I'm proud of him.
Astrea, we can barely. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to ask Astrea about his group because I see we have 2 of our retired players in Ruff and Peely in there.
Yeah.
Of course. As soon as you retire, you start to have better results, so that's good. And then Epic. What do you think about that group, Astrea?
Yeah, I think my group is a lot easier than Future's group, I'll be honest. I haven't watched. I know Ruff 4-0'd Emma Canning. I have no clue what memes he pulled out yet. I have to watch those still. Yeah, Ruff.
Okay, he's such a great. You know what? I've had nothing but nice experience with him, but losing to him is one of the most frustrating things because every time you lose, you're like,
doesn't he go mech or something?
No, Dan. We will not predict what he does on this show because it'll actually go till 12 p.m. tomorrow. He has 9 builds that he does, and every time you face the other one, you're like, God, because if you prepare for it, you're fine. But he has like 9 builds, and they're all frustrating because they're not what other people do. I love that guy.
Yeah,
that's cool. That'll make that exciting.
Yeah. I'll probably turn on his stream and watch some of the VODs. Hopefully, it's not subscriber only. I have to pay.
Yeah,
but
that's what smart people do. Astrea. He does weird stuff, but it's not as weird as going Colossus against Zerg, am I right?
Well,
Void Rays against Zerg? What are you trying to do? You trying to steal my thunder, by the way? You think I didn't notice you making Void Rays in that matchup?
Is that what you do?
Yeah, not very well, but...
Oh, well, I can coach you sometime.
I don't think I want to be good with Void Rays. I don't know what that looks like.
No, that's a trap you'll fall into.
Yeah.
If you think you're good with Void Rays, you're not going to make it very far in this game.
Then 2 would have mindset your whole army, you die. So, Astrea, you think first for your group as well? You're feeling pretty good?
I feel pretty good about first. I think, I don't want to say guaranteed first because nothing is guaranteed in tournaments like this, and all these players can beat me. I can beat all these players. I mean, Epic is also really good. PvP can be tricky with preparation. Maybe Pily will prepare some meme builds for me that I'm not ready for. So I think I have the highest chance to get first, but anything could happen.
Okay. I like this mix, by the way. You look at each group and you're like, okay, I played that guy on the ladder. And then right smack in the middle there, TLO. Marries a young Canadian woman, moves to North America, and was it all for StarCraft? I guess is the question we have to begin to ask ourselves.
He bought into the NA is easy.
He did.
Hype, right? Yeah.
He literally bought
it. Yeah, very long.
That's commitment. A lot of you guys train and practice, but do you marry for StarCraft? I think that's a.
It didn't work too well for him last WCS Winter, but we'll see if it's better this time.
But Dario, as a German, they perform better in the spring. Winter has always been a problem for Germans. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. How could I
Yep,
forget?
they had a tough time with that one.
Yep.
A couple of times. Yeah. Some say they'll never learn, but here we are in the spring, and I'll tell you what, they can do it in the spring. Okay, so that's cool. The other group's pretty tough too, right? We didn't the other two groups, but like Neeb, Vindicta. How do you guys ever seen a picture of Vindicta, by the way?
Yeah.
He's a handsome, normal guy, but
Yeah, he's
online,
yeah.
what happens to him?
Who is Enza Danino? I have never.
Great question.
That's Volts, Ace, Parks. What else?
Cicada.
It's
Glitch,
Volts? You mean
Cicada.
Cicada.
Yep, Cicada.
Ah,
Glitch.
why does he change his ID like every 2 days?
Drilling. My personal reasoning. I mean, this is with no.
Well, hang on, Hope. That's a topic we got. In fact, that's the next one. So, Dan, don't you fuck my show, okay?
Sorry.
We're talking WCS Spring right now.
Why he keeps changing his ID? I knew him as Volts, and now I'm asking who he is.
It's coming up. It's the next topic. You won't have to wait very long.
All right.
Well, guys, good luck at WCS Spring. It is this qualifier, top 2 advance, and then where do you guys go from here? What's the next? You're not off to Kiev, are you?
No, the playoff bracket right below on Wikipedia.
There you go. It's below.
I thought you were commentating this, Jeff.
I'm actually only commentating this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So that's as far as my brain goes. We actually just got a tweet from Dario. Imagine how terrifying Game of Thrones for us is. Winter is coming. Yeah. Try to keep the sex jokes at a minimum, Dan. Or Dario, okay? And then let me make sure we have that as a topic. Yeah, that's later as well. So let's move on to the next topic, which is one that Dan was really excited about. Barcode philosophy, but we'll also talk about just changing your name a whole bunch. So without too much pomp and what's the other word? I don't know. Without too much
Pomp
dressing it
around.
up. What is it?
Circumstance.
Pomp and circumstance. Thank you, Matt. We were already kind of talking about this. Dan, you were asking, why does he change his name so much? But it's just so happens, Dan, that we pulled an expert on randomly changing your name at weird times for reasons that nobody understands except for hopefully the person that did it. And of course, I'm talking about Future of Terran or Kurt Cobain. So why
Okay,
did
so-
you change your name?
Has he changed his name a bunch of times?
No, it was just a Smurf account. That was all it was.
Oh.
So basically, to clarify, I watched the last episode. I was listening to what you and Zombie were saying. Yes, it was on my fault for not taking it seriously, and I accept that. I should have taken it more seriously. So that's about being lazy. Like I should have messaged it way before the day of it starting. I was just doing my own thing and just not caring. And I completely accept that I should take it more seriously.
Yeah.
Now on the other side of the thing, it was Kurt Cobain because at the very beginning of the season, I name changed it because I off raced with Protoss on that account. And for the record, I have a 90% TVP, but I off raced with Protoss on that account.
You have a 90% PVT, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could be
very
the next need. Just be this like pretty good American Terran and then win a tournament in Korea with your Protoss.
Yeah.
Could happen.
So yeah, I name changed it because I was off racing and I just didn't want people talking to me because people would ask me real future, just things I just didn't really care. I just wanted to play games. So I name changed it at the beginning of the season. Now, once again, goes back to my fault for not asking Blizzard beforehand. But at the end of the day, should have asked beforehand, and it was also Blizzard's thing was bugged. Like I just couldn't name change. But I don't really name change. I just usually put on the account. Like I was playing on the account because I had 6,300 MMR instead of 61, and 200 MMR on NA is like 30 games because you play versus such low MMR players.
Mhm.
So it would have been a lot of time to get it back up. So that's the main reason on why it was Kurt Cobain.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what we figured. It was just like a weird snappy thing.
It was my fault, and I should have taken that more seriously.
Well, let's kick off the discussion though on. I guess we'll turn over to Astrea because he was in the chat and he had some thoughts. And I don't want to say too. I'll just introduce the topic, and Astrea, you go ahead and take it away. But generally speaking, 2 episodes ago, we were talking about barcode philosophy and why do people play on barcodes? Why would you? One of the kind of like my big hang up on it was if you know who you're playing against and you're practicing builds, it sets up a complete artificial competitive situation where they don't know who you are, at least at that time, or that's the idea of the barcode. So you're doing a build against somebody that you know what they do, you know who they are, they don't know who you are, which then gives you results based off of that precipice that then doesn't exist in any competition ever. If you go offline or if you are further in the tournament, they make you play on your main name. So that was my big hang-up. I don't see the point in it. And then Astrea was, he felt differently. He's also an active pro gamer, and I'm a retired curmudgeon old man. So I value your opinion quite a bit. Astrea, what do you think? The barcode etiquette and philosophy topic.
Yeah, just to clarify something first. When I was talking on the Pylon show, 2 episodes, I think the main thing I was doing was defending Future of Terran, aka Kurt Cobain, on his mess up, just saying what had happened and that he had actually tried the name change. But back to the topic of barcodes, I guess.
Yeah.
I think so. It sounds like your problem with it is that it's just like bad practice because you're getting this unfair advantage. But I think like the main point of it, of course, is to hide your builds and your strategies for a tournament, which is, I think, fine. I don't see anything wrong with doing that. And I don't think it would hurt your personal brand at all to be a barcode. Like to have a main account and also barcode accounts to hide your practice if your main practice is ladder.
Yeah, I think that's the merging of 2 kind of topics. We were with the personal brand stuff. We were talking about switching your name a bunch, but Future kind of easily answered that, saying he doesn't switch his name a whole bunch. He agrees that you probably shouldn't. He was doing it for MMR purposes for that specific ladder qualifier. So I don't think we have anyone that's championing I changed my name a whole bunch because I think it's the better for my brand. The more question was like, this always gets said, by the way. So I want to hear your thoughts more on this. Like every time we talk about barcode, someone's always like, well, I'm just hiding my builds, and that's how I practice. But everybody always knows with SC2 Unmasked who you are. Like if you are doing builds, they can still your account is almost never hidden for very long.
Well,
I would imagine.
I don't want to brag or bring too much attention to it. But my Europe account has not been figured out in the last like 2 years. So it does work, and that's like I just ladder on my own account. No one's ever figured out my account.
How high is your account?
I'm only 6K. I haven't gotten too high.
So based off of, and I'm an avid fan of Hero Marine. I've watched his stream. When he talks about 6K, I believe that makes you essentially
average.
Platinum. I think, average is what I would say, right? So, okay. So, well, let me even just turn over to you. When you say they haven't figured out, is your argument then that people don't figure out barcodes, or just yours?
They do. I'm just good at hiding it.
Ah, okay.
I think that this adds a level of like the fact that if you're better at figuring out barcodes and quicker at figuring out barcodes than your opponents, that gives you an advantage. I find that so fucking weird, and it's so outside the game. And I appreciate that people can do all sorts of things to give themselves advantages, but like, for instance, for anyone who watched Scarlet's GSL group, it was the most hilarious thing because Hero did a build no one had ever seen. He played 1 game on ladder with it, and it was against Scarlet, and he had no idea. And then she hard countered it when she saw it, and he's just like, "What the fuck?" Right? And he just like has this amazing build that he did 1 game against and didn't know it was her account. And I'm like, but she knew it was his account, so she was ready, and she countered it and just destroyed it. And like I look at situations like that, that's a very extreme one, but I don't know. There's something about having that.
That's an argument for barcode.
Yeah, you have to be good at the game, but also you have to figure out barcodes and really keep track of who is on this LIIILL ID. And it also, I don't know. I personally don't like it, but I'm a fucking hypocrite because I play on a barcode. So
what bothers me, or the thing I mainly disagree with whenever I was listening to it, people bring up the argument, well, it's bad practice. You're only trying to get cheap wins, and you're just a cheeser or something like that of that nature. I remember BCQD was bringing up that like it's only for cheap wins. You might get 1 win, and that's all. But I just think that's really stupid, right? Your practice is never going to be black and white. It's always going to be this, that, something really specific. So I do agree there's a time and a place to play on a barcode, but there's also a time and a place to get metagamed. Like it's not just you should be practicing one thing always. So for me, when I practice on Europe, I'm just looking to work on just raw mechanics and just work on my fundamentals as much as possible. Whenever I play customs or in a ladder, I just practice metagaming people and coin flipping. So I have 2 different types of practice, and I balance those things. And I don't think it's a black and white thing.
So why would you barcode on Europe if you're just working on mechanics and the essentials?
Because there's just better players in Europe.
No. The barcode part. You can just play on Future of Terran, and I'm guessing it's the same as barcoding against the Europeans.
It's different though, because people just they metagame a lot, and whenever there's multiple barcodes, you can't get metagame. Because I've actually
but
had
they're going to metagame you playing a straight up build
Yes.
in mechanics, right?
People have messaged me saying they thought I was a different Barcode Terran, so they were doing something. Like it actually happens. Like people
People
will
are
actually
each other for internet ladder points. It's
yeah,
sick.
well, it's kind of how it works, right? It's another way of practicing coin flips because you can just practice coin flipping against this barcode you're playing on ladder, but like you don't actually know if it's him, so it's like it's kind of spicy. But I just kind of practice straight up mechanics.
Astrea, you always play on Astrea, right, or something close to it?
Yeah, on KR my account is called Astrea Star, and on EU it's called like Alpha Astrea or something like that. Everyone knows it's me.
I'm going to guess, just kind of picking up on your vibe, that you didn't put a whole lot of thought into this, but are you going to prove me wrong? Do you have thoughts on barcoding?
My main thought is it's fine. It's cool. Like, personally,
this is every Californian, by the way, for the chat. The people that have never been to California, like every time, I'm like, what do you feel strongly about? They're like, bro, I love pizza, man. I fucking love pizza. That's it.
Okay. Please go ahead, Astrea. I got.
Like, personally, like this is just me. I don't think it's an argument for or against barcodes, like in general. But I like to practice with people who I know who I'm practicing with. It just creates more like playing custom games for me is more fun because there's like more intimacy. I know who I'm playing with, and I don't know, we talk and stuff. Playing all these barcodes on Gria is just so demoralizing. I'm like, it feels like I'm just hitting this wall, this sea of barcodes over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
How do I, like, if I knew who I was playing against, I think it would be more fun. Like, oh, I just beat stats instead of, oh, I beat sea of barcode 6.4K barcode guy. So I don't know.
So
it'd be more fun if people
more fun as opposed to hardcore practice is the concern for you, I guess?
Yeah.
Because whenever
it's still,
I said, I feel like I watch your stream because I basically watch Puck late at night when I'm doing like emails and stuff like that, and you guys play like 9 games in a row every single night. But it's just ladder. You guys hit each other, right?
Yeah. I mean, I queue into him sometimes, but yeah.
Well, he does it too. You guys have each other friend added, and then you're like waiting for who's queuing.
Yeah.
It's a different experience there.
He's like the only person I can hit at that time of night, so.
Well, that's cool. And I want to clarify too, like we have our thoughts, but I really respect Future of Terran. It's totally okay to disagree and have different philosophies. That's one of my favorite parts about StarCraft. Is I feel pretty strongly that it's like bad practice, but he's the actual pro gamer that's doing it. So if anything, I would take his opinion more seriously. But I do like that there's a difference of opinions, right? Like Astrea, you don't give a shit, but Future's pretty calculated about his, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, and I definitely can see what Future's saying for the different types of quality of practice and in the way that you can do that. But I don't know. There's something about the excitement that gets taken away. Like if you have everyone on their actual IDs, if everyone played only their real IDs, right? Or even if you had like a Smurf, but people knew what it was, or, and it wasn't just fucking barcodes, which are annoying to look at, people would look at the ladder standings a lot more. It becomes more exciting. It becomes more fun.
Does that affect you at all, Future? Do you find it demoralizing or bad? You talked about mental health earlier as something that you kind of take into consideration.
I just kind of accept StarCraft as a struggle, so I don't really look for excitement when I play it.
Wow.
Oh no.
He's on top of it.
I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's either a very Terran answer or it's like beautiful.
It's pretty zen, actually.
It's super awesome.
It's so funny though, because like Max is the polar opposite of me. Like Max is so happy all the time. It's a nice mix.
Yeah, you guys balance each other out. That's good. Well, all right. Do you guys? If I turn it over to you, do you have any comments or thoughts that I didn't touch on that you want to talk about, or are we done with this topic?
Got anything, Future?
I think we're done with the topic. I think we covered most of it.
Very good. Well, thank you guys again. One of my favorite things about this show and the awesome StarCraft personalities is like it's okay not to agree, and I like hearing you guys' opinions, and thank you for doing that. Next topic. This is definitely more of a like interview with you guys. We're calling it being a young pro gamer and what WCS means to you. We already touched on a lot of this, so don't feel like you need to repeat it if you don't want to. But I guess. And this definitely goes to what Future was saying earlier with the he doesn't feel as motivated to make himself a hardcore professional in the NA scene. I guess if you don't mind, give us a little bit of the biographical scope on yourselves, and then maybe talk a little bit of like your process and stuff. And I think this will be a very different answer for you guys because you're young and North American as opposed to those Europeans. But was StarCraft a hobby that you guys found yourselves very good at and you went in the direction of it? Have you always played StarCraft? Like, let's start with Future. Like, where did you come from? Why are you playing StarCraft? You're very good at. You won Cheeseadelphia.
So basically, my brother-in-law was living with us back when I was like 12 or something, and he was big Blizzard fanboy. He got Hearthstone 4 in beta, and he would let me play on it whenever he went off to work. And then I was honestly, I think back to this, and I'm really fortunate. He taught me the fundamentals as soon as I started playing. Like, he was only gold, but he taught me how to use hotkeys, camera locations, and like, I was just really fortunate that I had such a solid foundation like that first getting into it. And then I quickly started climbing like all the way up to Diamond. And then I got Masters one season, that season when 8% was into Masters, and then I couldn't get it again, so I quit. Also, Protoss made me really upset.
Wow.
And then I went to go play League of Legends for a little bit, doing life stuff and whatever. And then around Links of the Void, when it came out, a little bit afterwards, my brother, I was like begging him to buy me StarCraft 2 because I'm broke. And he's like, well, if you pay me back. And I was like, okay, I'll pay you back someday. And then he bought it for me. And then, I just started playing, and it worked out pretty well. And then I got a little bit better. And then, I don't know, I just kind of fell into it and got decent.
Very cool. Did you ever pay him back?
Say it again?
Did you ever pay him back?
No, I'm keeping my money.
Didn't you win Cheeseadelphia? I think you can pay your poor brother back. What the hell?
You know, he was actually the one there with me.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was with me. It's pretty cool.
And he didn't immediately ask for his money back afterwards. Well, good. That's the best way to do it. If you get someone to buy something for you under the promise of paying it back and then you never pay it back, you just scored double, dude. That's so sick. Astrea, what about you, man? How did you get into StarCraft, and why are you now doing it somewhat full time?
Yeah, I just got into it. I saw my friend playing it one day. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Just, I think after I saw him play it for a bit, I went home, watched a YouTube video of some hour-long StarCraft game that I just happened upon. It was really cool.
What was the game? When?
This was like middle school, so it was like some game. I remember I saw this guy take an expansion. I'm like, wow, that must be really risky. And then I just see this like one Zergling versus one Zealot trying to kill all the other people's buildings. I'm like, I don't know. It was a really cool game. But anyways, yeah, so I just kept playing. I started off in Bronze League, believe it or not. And then I just I don't know, just really liked playing, and played through high school, thought about build orders on my walk home, and often did not get enough sleep.
Oh, very
so I was
cool.
like, yeah, sleeping in class. And I actually played really on and off throughout high school and college, like in between focusing on my grades and playing StarCraft. But I think just recently I've really come to like accept that I really, really like this. Like in high school, I had some struggles with like my parents not being okay with how much I play the game, and like that translating into me thinking that this is not like an acceptable thing to do with all my time. So I had some like a break. I took like long breaks because of that, on and off, before coming back to the game. But anyways, in college, I feel like I've really come to accept who I am. Not that that's the question, but so I'm willing to like play this full time now and like do my thing. And my parents are more accepting of it now too. And yeah, that's my, and now I'm pretty good, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Jon Snow was asking why you take these breaks, but I think you answered that pretty good. Any questions for him, Dan?
Well, I kind of want to know from both of you what your future in StarCraft 2 kind of looks like to you, because I don't know, you both say, well, I guess Astrea, you're playing kind of full time right now, and in the future you say that, you know, keeping the college stuff going is important. But like when you look at just how big pro gaming is, it's becoming more accepted. There is a lot of money out there to be won. You guys are both obviously at the top of the NA scene with a lot of talent and everything. I wonder where you actually might see yourself going in the future with this, because it feels like you can only get so high until you really put in the time, like full time. You know, we've seen a lot of really talented players that never quite break in because they keep a certain type of mentality, right? And I just wonder what you guys are thinking.
I can answer first. Well, my main goal right now is I want to compete professionally, enjoy the experience, travel, and just understand things more for the next 3 years, because I plan on finishing high school. I'm junior year, going to be going into senior, and then I'm going to do community college for 2 years since college is expensive. And then after that 3 years, I'm not really sure what things will look like. I mean, I'm going to go into a computer science degree most likely, and go into computer science. It's pretty intuitive path for me, considering my family with my dad and older brother doing computer science. With the StarCraft side of things, though, I don't think it's necessary for me to be playing 8 hours a day or full time for me to reach the pro level. Like I'm much more focused on the mental side of things, and I honestly think I can have a lot of success this year. I think this is going to be a really good year for me.
Very cool. I had a question, but that was a very good answer. I guess I'm kind of okay. So the Cheesadelphia thing. Without sounding too cliche, winning over Special, the very emotional and awesome moment captured by Fear Dragon, his wonderful photography. Very cool tournament for you. I think it's, without sounding too ignorant, I think it's your only offline win, which is a very big one, right?
Mm-hmm. It was, that changed everything for me. Like,
yeah.
What's really interesting about that, though, is like how one win like that can change everything. Because the craziest part about that, my hardest series besides against Special was against Rob in that round of 16 match. Like, I through the 2 games I lost, and like I was like really flustered. I just kind of had to like calm myself down at LAN, and like I think about it, like, right, if I would have lost that, everything would be different. Like my entire outlook on StarCraft 2 and my entire position I'm in would be so different. Like it's just kind of crazy to think about that sort of thing, and I'm really grateful for that experience.
In what way did it just build your confidence? Did you suddenly think that, I can do this, or like what is that?
It's kind of weird. Like it really is a confidence. Like I kind of understood confidence on a much deeper level after that, in ways that you wouldn't really expect it. But just to put it like that, I've had a lot more confidence just as a person. But I think also more on the StarCraft related side, I do have a lot more confidence now in my ability to prepare. Like I think of myself as a preparation player, and I think of myself as a player who's very strong at LAN. Like I'm marginally better than most people that control my nerves and playing under high pressure. So that's kind of where I find my confidence, just in those high intense situations.
Oh yeah.
So it gave me a lot of confidence with that. Because what's crazy, I'm going to talk about this real quick. What's crazy about that is I could like feel Special choking in those games. Like he was like making mistakes, and I felt the momentum on my side. And it's just kind of like this crazy feeling. Like I think back to that Blue Shift game. Like I don't want to be too boastful, but like my Reaper control was actually insane that game. Like I just microed it perfectly on Blue Shift. And then like on the Ace map, like I just microed everything perfectly. And what's like so crazy to me about that is that it was just all like how I controlled myself in that situation. And I just bring this up. I mean, not to be rude to Euthermal, but I watched all due respect with Euthermal. I watched his series against Major in the IEM qualifier, and he got reverse swept. And on that Ace match was the exact same map that I played in Special, and basically the exact same builders, but he just lost his Raven, and like he just messed up in his control. So like it really just all that really comes down to is just controlling that moment. And like I was able to do that, so that gives me a lot of confidence in those situations.
It's really cool hearing you talk about it that way, because actually it was just the 1 year anniversary episode where Dan and I were bouncing off back when we were competitors. Like the good feeling of hitting that moment where you're executing in competition with your, with things at stake, pulling off the move, executing a build, microing really well is a different feeling, right? Like when you do it on ladder, you do it at home or whatever, you beat someone good, it still feels good, don't get me wrong, but it's a different kind of high. Like I when I won back in the day, I still remember how it feels, and that was like 12 years ago. It's kind of it's going to stay with you a long time, and I think that's part of the infectious nature of StarCraft. It's such a good game that it creates that situation. Because I think if you play I don't know, because I never competed in a shittier game, but like if you play it in a shit game where it's easier to pull those moves off, I don't know that you can appreciate it as much. It's still cool to win. It's probably always cool to win, but I have to imagine how hard it is to get to that place in StarCraft is a big part of the reason the payoff is so infectious, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's to reword what you said, Jeff. I think probably cell phone pro gamers like don't feel as high highs or as low lows as StarCraft pro gamers. They're living a mediocre life, perhaps.
Honestly, that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Since after I lost in WCS, I was like pretty sad about that. So I've been playing a lot of CS:GO, and the difference between the CS:GO and StarCraft is actually really, really interesting with how the reward structures are set up. Like in CS:GO, it's in your face whenever you do something well and really exciting. On top of the fact you have a team around you that can also be exciting and hype. But in StarCraft 2, you never, or more personally, I don't ever have that feeling, right? Like I just play the game and I always know I did something wrong. And I'm just so mentally focused on fixing those mistakes and fixing those bad habits. However, in CSGO, you're just like Counter-Strike, you're just always, it's so much easier to have a moment of brilliance in CSGO. And it's much more flashy and exciting. So it's like the reward structure is just so different. And that's kind of the same vein.
Interesting. Just hear your thoughts on that. I like it. I'm gonna give this plug real quick, and if Cobra or somebody can put it in the chat, we had it in our Discord. It's hard for Dan, but I just think it's such an amazing historical moment for StarCraft that someone just shared it again in our Pylon Show Discord, I believe, or maybe Matt's looking for it right now. I can't remember where I saw it. Anyways, you can even just Google it or YouTube. It's the 2005 Tastosis and Day 9, like just those keywords to pull up the video. But it is amazing because you're seeing the casting career of Tasteless start. You're seeing the epitome of Day 9's competition. Like that was him at his peak. And then you're seeing Artosis at one of the most deeply painful emotional moments in his entire career, which again, I'm not saying this to make fun of Dan, but like the emotions that get captured in that video are, it's like seeing a fucking like white humpback whale or something like that. It's like, it's amazing. And StarCraft is such a beautiful game, and that game at that time was like so important to people that it's kind of cool to see that moment, because we always talk about the highs. I can think of Future pumping his fist after beating Special. That stuck in my mind. But right up there is Dan being such a pro and answering questions on that camera, which, you know, nobody thought more than 25 people would watch that. It's now got 500,000 fucking views, by the way. But Dan, if you've ever competed and been asked questions afterwards, Dan's like, you know, he's answering it like a nice guy. It's this one right here. Over. But he's destroyed. I've been there myself before. It's really hard. My entire EG career was basically me having to answer to everyone after every single loss that I thought I practiced hard enough to win. That's my whole StarCraft 2 career, basically. It hurt. But it's just that it's a beautiful game. So thank you, Future, for sharing that. And I think Cobra's, I can't tell what's on stream right now, but I think we're showing off that video. But again, yeah, just Google that and look it up. It's a longish video, so we can't show the whole thing, obviously, but it's pretty cool. That's like a lot of the history in the making right there. There you go. And Dan also doesn't age. That's still him. That's exactly you. Fucking 14 years ago.
Pretty close. I don't have that hat anymore, though.
Yeah. You've moved on from that hat.
Yeah. I wear a black hat now.
Very cool. Well, I mean, I guess the next question, we kind of got the answer from Future, but, and I feel like I know the answer from Astrea, but that's just because I know Californians really well. You're just gonna you're gonna just do this for a while, right? Like, how do you feel about this year of WCS? Has it got you hopeful and excited to qualify and go far as well? Are we gonna see you in Kiev?
Yeah, I hope I get to Kiev. I'm just gonna do this for a while, you know.
Yeah. Let me ask one question real quick, and you guys, I know you guys can't give up too much. Don't don't ruin your efficiency just off of answering questions here. But like, what is practice for you guys? Because that's different. And that's changed for a while as well, right? Like, how much customs do you have? Who do you play with? Or is it just ladder? Future sounds very introspective and even like making sure to be on top of his mentality. But let's start with you, Astrea. Like, what do you do to practice, and how did you get here?
I feel like my practice has kind of changed, but right now I kind of just play games until like I kind of just do whatever I feel like I should be doing, honestly. So I know Jeff's happy with that answer, but like
no, it is what it is. It's what you do. I'm just asking to share.
But I feel like a main part of my practice is really learning to focus on what's happening in the games. So this will sound weird, but I don't know if any of you have practiced meditation, but I try to practice meditation while playing StarCraft by like repeatedly bringing my attention back to what's happening. So I'll do certain things like while I'm in a game, if I'm building something, like say I'm building a pylon or whatever, I'll just say pylon in my head while I'm building it. Or if I'm building like stalkers, I'll say stalkers in my head. This is just like the refocus on the game instead of, having a distracted mind doing other things. And if any units are lost on either side, like say I see 6 stalkers die, then I'll make sure to note all of that information. So instead of actually like thinking too much, like while I'm actually playing, I'll let myself play on instincts just by focusing on the things that are actually happening. So if when people make those jokes like Protoss players don't think, I feel like for me, I actually don't think while I play.
But you put in so much thought that you actually are going off of muscle memory, and I love that. Incorporating meditation, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. That's actually like, again, I bring this up from time to time. This is like what I kind of study in all my free time currently. And like what you're saying is exactly the conclusions that I've come to through my own, trying to improve myself and reading all sorts of sports psychology books and things like that. So keep it up. That's some good shit.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I got the idea from a few sports psychology books I read also, actually. So I just recently started trying these things out. Pretty helpful.
Do you remember the names of the books, just for people to maybe follow?
Yeah. I'm a tennis player, so The Inner Game of Tennis is one of my favorite books. Yes.
That is the best book on the mentality that you need to get to play professionally in anything. It is literally, I told that to Pig last time I saw him, I think. I was like, you need to read this book. Like, this is the book about how to manage your mind while you're playing StarCraft. It's insane. Everyone go buy that.
Very cool. Future, what about you, man? If you don't mind sharing. If you do, that's okay.
The question was, I was listening to Max's answer.
Yeah. Like, how do you practice? How do you prepare?
Okay, yeah, I remember. So basically, I'll practice on Europe until roughly 7 p.m. And that's like roughly, and that's roughly when Europe dies. And then I also might just play customs on Europe, since depends on. So I'll play customs on Europe if I'm preparing for WCS and I want focused practice. But otherwise, I'm just playing a Europe and I'm just getting general practice. I'm just experimenting. I'm trying to learn things. So I only really do customs with Europeans whenever I'm really focused and I know exactly what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I just experiment and try to learn the game and work on fundamentals. And then after Europe hours are dead, I'll go to NA and I'll see if anyone's down to play customs. And if no one's down to play customs, I play CSGO. That's basically what I do.
And just ladder in your free time or whatever, because you do have a 6K MMR on NA as well, or 6.
I mean, I don't ever really play NA ladder, but I might play one game if I'm really bored, but I don't really play NA ladder.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you guys. I unfortunately did steal our roundtable topic thunder a little bit, so if you have more to share when we get there, actually we are pretty much there now. So I apologize. We always ask our guests if they have stuff that they want to talk about, and I think it was Future that they want to talk a little bit about Terran and tournament play compared to practice. So actually, I don't think I did steal the thunder too much, hopefully. But what are you getting at with this topic? I like that you brought it up.
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with just Terran. The way that I see Terran to be played is very aggressive, very gambly. I don't really know a word that I can use better there, but very aggressive, and you're always trying to get the upper hand with builders.
Yeah.
But like Terran's solid, or let's say Terran's macro, straight up macro, their most consistent way to play, I think is probably weakest in customs and ladder. Like, I don't think Terran is that good in customs and or ladder. Like, I definitely think Terran is the strongest in tournament. And I think that's for a few reasons. And one of those is because I think Terran's really strong in preparation tournaments, because you have so many builders as Terran, and they're all like really niche aggressive things. And your opponent has to think through how to defend all those different things. And you can have I have a lot of ways to punish people for like the smallest possible thing. Like, a lot of what I do in practice is trying to figure out ways to punish the smallest thing. So like in tournament, you can bring that out against specific players. On top of the fact, I think in tournament setting, when people are nervous and just jittery, I think defending things is very difficult. Like, playing against someone who's constantly putting the pressure on you in a high pressure situation is very difficult, I think. So I feel like Terran is really strong in tournament in that way, where it's just hard to defend. But
we kind of call this the euthermal theory, by the way. He was, at least for us, the first to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's also like kind of next to a thing that we've talked about, where a lot of the foreign mentality has been, if you're better than your opponent, go into a longer game, where the Korean mentality has always been put the pressure on early, force the mistakes and stuff. So it's cool to hear that as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about why I feel like the Korean Terrans have had a lot more success compared to the foreign Terrans and things of that nature. And also, like, it seems like foreign Zergs had a lot more success compared to Korean Zergs for the most part. I mean, there were still some exceptions, but for the most part.
Yeah. Maru winning his 4th GSL in a row. The prepared tournament.
I'd like to ask Future what he thinks about the final match, Maru vs. Classic, because it seems to me, if I remember the match correctly, Maru just played straight up very, very macro builds. Dan can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like 5 out of 6 games maybe he just played really standard.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea, man. Like, no Terran can play like he played. Like, I don't want to say this as a meme because I always hate when people say that no one can micro their Reapers like beyond. Like, I just think it's really dumb. I mean, aside from like the hype side, like I think like that's an objective fact. I think it's kind of lame sometimes because there are people who are really good.
Well, now there is. There was a time.
Yeah. I just don't understand like what he knows that every other Terran doesn't, because no other Terran is on his level. Like I was looking up the GSL qualifier results, and Terran lost every single TVP in the qualifiers for GSL and Super Tournament, except for against Curry, MC, and Creator. Like those are the only Protosses that dropped TVP. So like every other Terran is just in Korea is doing so bad in TVP, but like Maru just seems insane, especially because Classic was just like cheesing him as well. It didn't seem like Classic wanted to play him in straight up games. I just don't understand what makes him so much better than all the other Terrans. Like I just don't have an answer.
Yeah, he also forgot about lifting his buildings. Does that even confound you further? He knows things you guys don't, but he doesn't know how to get a draw as a Terran player.
No. So I'm not really sure like what to do with Maru. He's kind of like an outlier.
I think that's what Terrans have to say though, right? As he's winning everything. Like, in order to accept that he's the best and plays the best, you'd have to accept that your guys' whining is unjustified?
Well, you say you guys.
Well, all Terran players. That's what I mean.
It is, I agree 100% with you that, like, I don't know what it is that Maru knows. Like, I'm starting to see all the patterns. Like, don't go Phoenixes against Maru. Don't do it.
Yeah, he seems like the first Terran who, like, figured out the best way to play against Phoenix. And he kind of just like goes double Cyclone Viking, then goes 3CC and just like plays you in a macro game, like because you invest so much in defense early game, it seems.
And the thing is, it's in every column, especially in that matchup where it's just like I'm not sure what it is, but he can definitely be learned from. We just don't know what it is to learn quite yet. You have to look at almost every moment and every move he makes and try to figure it out and trace it back and try to see what he's seen and stuff. And it's, people were comparing him, I think, too early before to Flash, but that's kind of what we have in StarCraft 1 as well, where it's like Flash is like 4 times better than the next best Terran in the world and better than everyone else. And it's like you can just watch him play and you're like, how the fuck do you do this? No one can do it. And I don't know. It's a fascinating thing with Maru. But I think it can be learned if someone sits down and truly breaks down all of his games. You'll start to really see patterns.
I just wish you had those GSL replays. I can't get those. One thing that's kind of interesting that I remember watching an interview with SOS recently with Hutchinson. SOS was talking about like the Reaper is just too strong for scouting. And so like maybe I don't really understand it, so I'm kind of out of my territory here. But like it makes me think like maybe Maru's figured out a way to where he always slightly ahead with everything he scouts, and he just knows every builder and how to be slightly ahead. Like I'm not really sure what it is, but I've never heard like a Protoss player complain about the Reaper, right? Like so it seems weird SOS complaining about that.
And he is a teammate of Maru, and he's like in many ways the smartest Protoss player, I think.
Yeah, so like it's such an interesting situation because I really don't know what to make of it. Besides that, Maru is just insane, but he also just seems like the absolute best at playing under pressure as well. Like in GSL, he just doesn't make mistakes.
Dan thinks very highly of SOS, by the way, to our listening audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 2-time world champion? Yeah, no, I do. I think he's pretty good.
He thinks so highly of him. He took some insane bets at BlizzCon and lost all of them.
Well, I try to bet you guys on SOS against Maru. I told you guys he was going to wreck him. It's fucking obvious to me.
Well, he'd have to because you were going to say he was going to win the whole tournament, and then he absolutely got demolished.
No, I thought the finals was going to be hard. His PVZ doesn't impress me, but.
Future, thank you for sharing that, though. I do appreciate that. And, Maru continues to be a conundrum. Like, my memeing aside, he won 4 in a row. It's like the unprecedented run continues to be unprecedented.
Yeah, and like Max makes the perfect point there. Like, he is playing straight up. Like, that's not the way that I see Terran being played at all everywhere else. Like, it's just, I don't understand it.
Well, nobody else does either. So, pretty interesting. We'll talk more about GSL
we will,
later.
Eventually. Here's the funny thing. 3 years from now, every Terran will look like Maru does now, but he might have moved on to an entire another level too.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
that's the crazier thing.
Yeah, like
You're
you
not wrong.
will actually be as good as Maru is right now, and then you'll still lose to Protoss because they will have evolved.
So that brings us to our last topic about other stuff before we kind of report on the tournaments, of course, real quick, and then wrap up the show with the Q&A. We had an interesting situation. I looked into this just to kind of, it's not big drama or anything like that. I actually really want to give a tip of the hat to the captain himself, Mr. Harsum, because I thought the way he communicated this and handled this was exceedingly level-headed and cool. And he is a bit of a, he's a household name in the European scene. And if he was to get full ragey, it would be a very different message. But he tweeted out talking about it's called Thoughts on WCS Challenger, but really it's kind of about the community caster situation that they did. So I don't have all the answers. It's just my speculation and what I read into. So that's the first thing I want to say. They ended up opening up WCS commentating for the WCS Spring qualifiers to just about anyone. And they did not, as far as I can tell, vet almost at all. So the idea behind this is so beautiful. And I got to tell you guys, in my experience, it's so Blizzard that I just could not help but to laugh my ass off. Because it's like, Blizzard, the mistakes they make is based off of the premise that they don't think shitty people exist. They think people are probably pretty smart. They probably are well-intentioned. And they're going to do the best thing they can do. That's not to say that these people that tried to commentate this were shitty. It's just that they did stuff that was really weird. So Harsum's talking about situations where, like, a guy would legitimately be like, hey, I haven't touched StarCraft in 2 years. I thought this was a good way to advertise my stream. So here I am. How do I host a game? And they were one of the commentators. And then they would message Harsum and be like, yo. Or there's other situations where commentators were messaging Harsum and being like, I've got 29 viewers. That guy that's in that lobby only has 26. Can you please kick them out so I can enter that game and get you more viewership? And Harsum and these guys, WCS is like sacred territory. It's where these people, and we got two guests right here that can vouch for this. This is kind of like the big deal for them. Like qualifying for this is significant money. If you're going to be a pro gamer, this is how you do it. You don't not qualify for WCS and then call yourself a StarCraft 2 pro gamer. It's just, it's very tough to make that argument. So that's the kind of stuff that was happening. And it was a bit of a shit show. There's people with bad internet commentating, and they were lagging out of games, and then they were asking for remakes, and they were spamming messages. They were delaying broadcasts because they just did not know how to actually even like get into lobbies, and they were slowing it all down. So it was pretty bad. It was not the apocalypse. We're not talking about like everyone who should have qualified probably did. Nobody had their run ended because of this situation. But this is definitely a moment where on the Pylon show we have to kind of report on this and say, don't open up to the public. Give it to Fear Dragon, Zombie Grub, Rifkin, Wardy, grumpy ass Wardy. I'll be in there watching. I'll listen to it. I love it. And then if you want to, open it up to more people than that, you got to vet them, because there are really weird people out there that are like, I've never done this ever. Let me try it out. And they can actually mess with a pro gamer's career, and you don't ever want to let people do that.
I read this when Harsum posted. It's pretty shocking to think that some of these things could occur where, I have 3 more viewers put me in. It's like the fact that you would ever bother a player.
Yep.
Just shows that you should not be allowed to commentate it at all. It's like, what are we doing here? This is so insane, especially considering this is like a qualifier. It's not like I think it's a little bit different. Let's say that you're at a dream hack or something and the commentator has to talk to you for a second, because sometimes we have to do something like that. That's, but something like that. It seems to me that there just needs to be more betting for this, like you say.
And I think this is just us reporting on it. I cannot imagine that it ever happens again. Not in this way. Like, Blizzard has really good people behind the scenes working on this stuff. So this is a mistake. It happened. Hopefully there's no victims. Harsum goes on to talk about the veto system. What do you guys think about, I'm guessing Astrea here in Future, you guys are pretty familiar with this, the AV. What do you guys think about the veto system?
Could I actually backtrack a second? Where did you hear that part about people who didn't cast StarCraft casting that? I didn't see that anywhere in his tweet. Did he tell you that?
The Reddit thread.
Oh, the Reddit thread. Oh, I didn't know there's... Okay, never mind then.
Nice try, though. What do you think? I made that up, you son of a bitch?
Jeff made that up. Jeff wants drama. That's the only way that we get people on our page.
This wasn't spicy enough, so I had to dress it up. I had to go in deeper. Anyways, Astrea, or Azalea, as I'm going to call you now, what do you think about the veto system?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's extremely unfair. Like, but yeah, I do agree it's unfair. Uh, A B. Being second definitely helps every single way in that system.
Okay. Future, you agree?
It's always yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you can go.
I was just going to say it's always surprising when I see things like vetoes gone wrong, because the only thing I can think is whoever made this system has never played competitively. Because as soon as you get anyone who ever has and ever had to think about something like this, it takes like, I don't know, 15 seconds to 30 seconds to come up with something that's more fair.
Yeah. It's just a bad veto system. I don't know what they're doing. Like, just go back to A, B, B, A, B, A, C. Like, let's just do that.
Okay.
That's probably the best one. And on the community caster thing, I think as you guys already said, just vetting. Like, the last thing you want to be thinking as a player, you never want to be thinking about anything besides your game you're playing and who you're about to play. Like, you should never be asked to kick someone. Like, you really should never care about that. Now, I've even heard people saying that they shouldn't have to make the lobby. Like, someone should just make the lobby, because I mean, I don't go as far as that. I think that's kind of a little too sensitive, but like, it does affect people. Like, they don't want to be thinking about more than just what they're doing.
You don't need to be thinking about fucking politics when you're playing tournament matches. You got to make.
Well, they don't. They're just getting messaged by people though, and it rattles them, right? Because they're like, "Is this guy going to be upset at me or whatever?" It's just, I agree. You don't do it.
Yeah.
And they can't block communication too, because these are being broadcasted, so they do get message from broadcasters and refs and stuff like that. So they have to be open to getting messages, or they friend out everybody. The other part of his tweet was talking about, and this is where we get a little bit Poppy Jeff on it. He's talking about time zones and running time. I don't agree with this. I think, in essence, this kind of argument always comes up and has always come up since the beginning of time. And I get it. As a player, you would love for the time zone or whatever competition it is to start at a time where you've just rolled out of bed at 1 p.m. You and Tasteless just rolled right out of bed. And, maybe at 2 o'clock, maybe it starts. And it goes in like 3-hour increments for 7 weeks or whatever. And that's just wonderful for you. But productions just don't operate that way, and it's always okay to voice your concern and to ask that they probably do, and that's what Harsman's doing, by the way. So it's not like he's going on a terrible rant or saying something really bad, but he's basically saying like it ends for Ukrainian players and some of these guys at like 1 or 2 a.m. Bitch, when I was a pro gamer, some of our competitions didn't start until 4 a.m. Okay, like. That is just StarCraft. If you ever been to an MLG, sometimes if you got in that loser bracket, I saw a White Raw get hoisted up by an audience after he won his final round on day 1 at 5 a.m. He was supposed to report back to the computer at 9 a.m. the next day to play his next round. And that's not okay. That's savage and terrible, but that's the confines of the competition. Like, sometimes who they can get to run these things and where they can get them to do it and at what time is not conducive to the perfect sleep schedule for a pro gamer, and that sucks. And you should always voice your concern, like he did, and he did it very respectfully. But it's just going to keep happening. Like, they didn't do this because they thought this was the best time. This is just what they could do. There will come a time where it won't happen.
There is that European. What do you call that privilege? There you go, European privilege, man. These poor Chinese pros waking up for the NA tournament. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Marine Lord all killed a Korean team that started playing at like 4 or 5 a.m. and had to sit there until noon or whatever after. I mean, it's like there is just savage. And at Harsham's point, his counterpoint would be that's also not okay. And I agree. The catch-all for all of this is that you should always voice your concern, like he did, in a respectful, nice way, and then you plug on.
Well, I want to give a big cheers to him for this too, because the fact that it was Harstam, who always holds himself to like a very high level of professionalism and is a very respected programmer that's won plenty of tournaments. He did this, and not only he wrote this, he won the winner bracket and got the seed, right? If I'm not mistaken. So this wasn't someone losing and then complaining.
Right.
He literally won and then stood up with his already stellar reputation. Yeah. And wrote out and even mentioned that, like, and that last one, it's like this guy was like 1 hour above him that he beat in the finals to win the slot, right? So like it very, very legitimate good thing that Harstam did here with this post.
Fully agreed. And he is a bit of a leader in that scene, so it's cool seeing that. Like I said, when I say disagree, I guess I need to backtrack and more say it's totally okay to voice that concern. it's just not going to. You're never going to get the perfect qualifier time zone wise and stuff like that. Or if you do, that's great, but it's not because you asked for it. We're at the mercy of what they can do, and that's just how it's always been. All right. Well, that is the wrap up on that. I believe we can head into. Yeah, we can talk about GSL real quick. The finals of this. So this is where we remind everybody. Well, it's too late. If you didn't know, Maru won. I don't know. It was like a week ago, so.
Yeah.
And this is a show that talks about results and shit, so. But if you're really upset, tweet at Rotterdam08 and kind of talk to him about it. Let him know that that was unacceptable. That's where we go with
and
that.
he'll let us know.
He's the leader of HR for this show. Maru wins again. And you guys were talking a little bit. I mean, we don't need to go over the I don't know how he does it thing. But let's just talk about the games themselves. Did you guys find the series good? Was it a good final? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I think so. I enjoyed it.
It was a pretty good finals. Like, the thing is, finals with Maru have been very strange, right? The Zest one was awful. The Stats one was kind of like this one, where, yeah, it was a 4-2, but you knew who was going to win. Only the TY one was actually really good finals. You know, that was the one where he was really tested. But I think overall, yeah, there was some very good games in there, and there was a couple that were not very good. But I don't know. It's just we're like watching the creation of possibly the player that we're going to call the greatest of all time. Right he is someone who really might just hit that level where it's like there isn't a comparison.
You know what's funny for me, and this definitely has to be discussed, and I guess this makes me that guy on the internet, but like Maru is crushing GSL, but he's a completely different animal at all the other tournaments. Like at BlizzCon, how hard he got blanked and how bad he looked is really hard for me to look at that. But I think of what Future's talking about, and like when he can prepare and he's playing against somebody he knows, he is the best, probably. Mm-hmm. But when it's just him facing opponents and having to think to himself, like, what do I do in this moment? What do I reach into? I'm tired or I'm uncomfortable. He is not the best player. It never has been. So can you accept that and then still say they're the best StarCraft player ever when we're talking about specifically a circumstance in which they're the best, and we accept that they're absolutely not in these other circumstances?
I think that this is Future already talked about this a lot, right? The preparation of Terran versus not preparation, and the way to do that, and how Maru is so good. But this is a very interesting thing because we never even had to discuss this in StarCraft 1 because everything were matches that you could prepare for. You knew everything ahead of time. Even Pro League, you knew ahead of time who you were playing, so you had enough time to prepare the match. Whereas in StarCraft 2, we're kind of split down the middle between preparation matches and weekend tournaments. And we're seeing these gigantic differences appear in racial balance because of that.
I think we're not split down the middle, by the way. It's just GSL. Huh? It's GSL versus everything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the entire Korean scene is like that. And then the foreign scene is mostly the weekend stuff, right? Well, we have a little bit of weekend stuff. We have Super Tournament this week, right? You can prep for your first match, but after that, it's day, right? So... yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting thing to see, though, where the weekend tournaments, really, the Zergs seem to do better. And, I mean, Protosses do reasonably well in both. But then on the other end of the spectrum, Zergs generally don't do well in GSL anymore, and Terrans do. And, yeah, it's weird. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. You guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about it a whole lot before Future brought up these points, but I will say that Maru does provide a very convincing argument for Future's tournament point about Terrans.
Yeah.
And that goes back to like Euthermal's original thing. I kind of just looked at it through Euthermal's point of view. I think Euthermal kind of hit it on the head. It's
definitely becoming, you have to look at it, right? Like how convincingly Maru cuts through the GSL, and then at times how flat he falls everywhere else. And to Dan's point, too, it's not like he's one of like 12 Terrans in the round of 16 at these weekend tournaments. It's like it starts at 9, then it's like 4 or whatever, then it's 2. And it's the usual suspects that can kind of weather it. It's very rarely... I guess one of the big points you could make, too, about this is like, when have we been shocked by a Terran player that like just tore through it? Who's the Terran Rainer that just showed up and won very well? Just from nowhere.
No, there hasn't been one.
Right? They're like the most predictable. You know they're coming because they are phenomenal before that.
Yeah, there's definitely a steady progression. You don't see. Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. You see Protosses occasionally bust on and Zergs occasionally bust on, but I can't remember a Terran that came out of nowhere. I feel like I knew every Terran before they won a tournament.
This is my favorite. We anytime we talk about the Korean scene, there's a guy with like 2 Coke cans for glasses. It's M. Luneth right now in the chat. He's like, Beyond, what the fuck? Like, no, not Beyond. He did not come out of nowhere. People were talking about like the time he like.
Yeah, I guess he won a tournament out of nowhere, but he was in GSL season 1. So
yeah, no, he's been around a long time.
He's around for a long time.
Not Kumio either. Okay, we're gonna turn off the chat. I'm gonna mentally turn off the chat. Like now, people are just naming Terran. No, stop, guys. Jeez, Louise.
Innovation.
With his 20 GSLs. It's like, yeah, he came out.
Beyond came out of nowhere. It's like, God damn it. He's been a pro gamer for like 30 years before that. And anyways, GSL. It has concluded. It was that was amazing. Is he gonna win again? Does he win his 5th?
Yeah.
Who can stop him?
Yeah, I think he is actually.
Like I literally can't think of anyone. Like the only thing that can stop him is TBT, and like all the other Terrans are losing except for him. So like I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy.
I don't think he'll win Super Tournament though. I
agree with that.
Not a prepared tournament, right?
Definitely not Super Tournament. Definitely Protoss.
Yeah. Like I think tonight actually.
That's playing Stats. Future of Terran.
First match of the night, I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I think he might just lose straight up. Everyone's gonna be like, I'm so excited, Mario's gonna win. No, get the fuck out of here.
Well, he can prepare for the first match, though, right?
It's true, but it is Stats. He's one of the only Protoss that can actually beat him.
Watch Stats lose tonight, but then Mario just loses to the next guy. And you Thermal somewhere is like sitting cross-legged, floating 6 feet above the ground in a white robe. I was like, oh my god. Well, that's tonight. We'll get to that when we sign off a little bit, but there's a nice big tournament happening. You guys will all watch it. But let's talk about the Brood War results. How about that, Dan? Look at that.
Brood War results. Well, we had the KSL qualifiers. You know, we're only doing 1 league at a time right now.
Yeah.
The qualifiers were kind of interesting. Stork came back and made it in. So that was super cool because he missed a couple tournaments in a row there where I believe he tried to qualify but didn't. And he just had like a kid too. So he's been pretty busy, but he is in fantastic shape right now. So that's awesome. And then we had Jadong return as well. And he took the last couple tournaments off ASL and KSL. But he got right through his bracket without too much problem. Flash was technically signed up for the bracket, but did not play. So I did not hear yet why that is the case. But because he didn't play, the bracket he was in was actually pretty weak. He obviously, well, it doesn't matter who's in his fucking bracket. It'd be the KSL, you probably win. But that let another Terran through Ample, which is, he's like maybe a top 10 Terran or something like that. He's pretty good. He's like all the pros brackets with him, but that was kind of a surprise to see him get through. Also, 4GG made it in, which was kind of surprising as well because he's not KSL level. I don't think anyone thinks he is. He's kind of how he's always been, a little bit cheesy, a little bit weird, very peculiar builds, but obviously a very high-level player. But he got in off of beating Light's Protoss because Light was sick of TVP and is now one of the highest-ranked Protoss players in the world after playing it for a month. Wow. But he did not qualify. That would have been my favorite thing in the whole world, Light playing Protoss in this tournament. But yeah, overall, it's a really, as far as like Zerg and Protoss, this is like the best shit ever. Okay. And then we have 2 of the top 4 Terrans and then 2 Terrans that are about top 15. So I don't know if we're going to have the most balanced tournament as it goes forward, unless Sharp and Last really deliver. But it's an exciting season. Oh, I forgot to mention the ID that we see Queen qualified. That is 0.
Oh, okay.
And 0 is looking stupid good right now. I think he's going to win KSL, actually. He looks so ridiculous. So it's going to be a very exciting season. And it actually starts tonight. Like 2 hours after Super Tournament starts, KSL will start. So you guys get a dual screen.
All the StarCraft
Super Tournament, but it's awesome.
Very cool.
Thursdays and Fridays from here on out till it's done.
Very excited for Last versus JD, by the way. Low key, like an insane match.
Oh my god, I know, right? that's insane. That's a rematch of KSL Season 1 Finals.
I like it.
That Group D, Last, Jadong, Rain, Stork.
Pretty good.
What do you think about that?
User Litz is asking who's casting it. That's a funny question you should ask. That's going to be that Taiwanese reporter guy. Actually, he's going to be commentating.
It's KSL tonight and tomorrow night. I know that Rapid's doing both the nights. I think No Regret is going to be casting with him.
Is he wearing a
pretty
suit?
sure about that. A suit that looks just like the suits you wear, Jeff. We're dressing up refrigerators here.
That's how I can tell, though. No Regret hasn't evolved yet. They used to put me in suits, and then I said I look like literally a crime boss. You need to stop doing this. And they're like, you're right. And then they stopped letting me do that. But No Regret every time, man. He marches out there. He's cousin it. He's just wearing a suit. I love it. My favorite thing. Yeah. Still hasn't eaten a shoe, by the way, right? Last I checked.
No, I saw him eat a shoe the other day, actually.
Oh shit. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's done, guys.
All debts are paid.
The debts are paid.
All Lannisters. That's very cool. Nice to hear. All right, well, that's Brewber, guys. So let's head into the Q&A. And hopefully you guys have some questions.
Wait, we should mention GSL Super Tournament is tonight.
I believe we have, Dan.
Yeah, that's true. But we didn't look at the bracket, did we?
Okay, here's the bracket again. Seed versus stats?
No, that's Maru, and then versus Sue, it will be Classic.
Oh.
Those were the seeds from the season, the winner seed and the
that's what it is.
Seed. Yeah. So those crazy matches start in 5 hours.
Are they? How many matches being played? I guess it says right there. Thursday.
So
yeah.
We do 4 best of 5s a day, and cool. Yeah, so 4, 4, 4, and then the last day is like I think we moved to best of 7 for everything. The round of 4 and then the finals.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Future, what Terran wins here?
Maru will beat that.
Yep.
I think Emil will get destroyed by Dark, and then Dark will destroy Maru, and then Dark's gonna win.
I like it.
Dark's gonna win the tournament.
Yeah, he's gonna finally get past the round. He's gonna win something. Finally, he saw Sue.
Zest is gonna win this tournament, but okay.
I mean, Dark. So Dark saw Sue win a championship. He's like, oh no, he shouldn't win a championship before me. So like, he's gonna get really offended. But now he's gonna win. I think that's most likely.
It's really good.
Wow.
It's a good tournament.
Like, think about how upset he is that Sue won something before him.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
These are the Silver Surfers, though. They only beat each other.
It's really dude, that is one of the coolest theories. Not even a theory. It's just like a weird, like, circle.
It happened in Brood War, and it's happening here. We got Sue, Dark, and Stats.
Only
They're the fodder for the real champions and the fodder for each other.
Isn't that amazing?
That's all it is. Yeah.
Okay, now let's get to the Q&A. But do check that out. I'll be watching it. So if you're not familiar somehow, this is episode 47. There's probably a time where I have to stop doing this, but if you go to our website and click on the Patreon Q&A, and if you are a Patreon supporter, you can ask a question to us, and we will answer it. I also, just to mention this, by the way, because I can't go too long without making fun of somebody, I do check the questions that you can ask if you're a non-Patreon supporter or a plebeian, and it is some of the worst questions I've ever seen in my life. It's a lot of questions. Like I want to ask free questions and answer them, but they are like, here, Cobra, take me there right now. Let's hurt someone's feelings real quick. I'll be gentle. Be general.
It's a very in control thing to do.
It is. I haven't done it for a while though, so I've been like too good. Yep. Cobra's like, let's keep it soft. What happened at the pork chop? How viable do y'all have game speed change based on MMR? Game speed change based off of MMR. So literally this guy's asking, if you're so bad at this game that the game decides to slow it down for you, would we like that?
Like
I asked
maybe
that question.
Bronze plays on normal speed.
Right. That's what he's saying. Like literally if you're so bad at this game, StarCraft will slow the game down for you.
You're never going to get better than that. What the fuck? Like,
not only that, have you played the game at a slower speed? StarCraft's painful.
So bad.
If you slow it down...
Probably not for the Bronze League players.
Well, we don't know. Because nobody talks to Bronze League players. You can't. They ask questions like that. Anyways, guys, so if you ask good questions, I am looking. But if your question starts off with like an imaginary premise of, what do you think about this thing that's never going to happen? It's very hard for me to get there mentally. So please sign up on Patreon, because I think that's what's dividing the people right now. I'm noticing that. If you sign up on Patreon, these questions are fantastic. Cobra, take us there now. These questions are so good. I can't wait to read them. So here we are. First one, Barry Stevens, longtime supporter. See, already off to a good start. And as a casual player / hermit, you guys have really brought the community of StarCraft closer. This is a great question, which has made the game so much better. Last episode, you mentioned the dumpster fire that was the Gom house, and I was wondering if you had any stories from that house we never knew about. Dan, you got any stories you can tell?
Well, a lot of it was players that like would get in that were over here that weren't really that good. Like if you came to Korea, you could kind of like get into the house. I always heard that there was like a lot of bickering going on amongst these players. Most people didn't practice.
It was bad.
I kind of kept away from it all, to be honest, because like I loved the idea, and then I saw the execution. I was like, oh, well, this is just sad.
Yeah,
it was a great idea in theory, and then it was just so terribly done and didn't help like anyone basically.
They needed a mother hen like No Regret. That guy, he's doing a great job getting some results out of there. One of the funny stories I heard, I think people heard this though, was Sase was very sensitive about his setup, and you'd know that if you watch any of the Dream Hacks back then, because he'd take the booth, and then we'd have to kill an hour and a half of time as he's like, I don't know what you're doing in there, but he was setting his specs up for literally an hour and a half sometimes. But one time he was playing with somebody as his neighbor. I can't remember who it was, and the guy that was next to him, I think it might have been Todd, was like shaking the desk with his mouse and keyboard, and Sase had a little bit of a meltdown, which was interesting. But it just kind of, can't tell too many stories from there because most of it was just like it was a shit show. Yeah. Nyan asks, you remember the remaster launch event you did with Machine, G5, Nyoken, Legionnaire, and so on? Because out of so many offline events I've seen and been to, this was one of the hands down funniest and coziest things ever. Any chance of something like that happening again? Genuine friends being cute. So the sad answer here is there a chance? I hope so. Is it being planned or worked on? No. And that sucks. We all agree. It was great.
We want it badly. We want it. You invite Jeff and I to there. We will be there.
We'll be there.
My God.
GT Buzzsaw asks, to echo Nyan, the Holiday Bash and Remaster events were my favorite pieces of content maybe ever. They were day-long blasts of nostalgia, inside jokes, and great games. What has to happen to have another one of these events? We talked a little bit about this before. Dan and I actually helped put together a group of people to basically handle the business side of this and try to make it happen. It just never got off the ground. It's sad for us as big fans. I also understand, not that I agree with, the Blizzard side of things, where when they host an event like this, even if it's inexpensive, again, we still think it's worth it and all that, but for them, it's not going to sell thousands of units of StarCraft Remastered or StarCraft 2. It's not going to generate a lot of major influence. It's just not going to be worth it to them. We, of course, think it still would be, but I understand on the business side of things why sometimes those things can't happen. But if you really like it, want more of it, and this goes for anything, always just let them know. Tweet at them, email them, all that kind of stuff. It might not happen. It might not change things, but maybe it will. If everyone's just like, I like that, but I'll never tell anyone, then it's harder to see stuff happening. Red Gunner Guy, what is your favorite type of cheese, both in game and in life? Future, you first, but I don't care about StarCraft first. I want to know what's your favorite cheese.
I don't know. This isn't something I thought about.
What comes to your mind right now?
I just think of blue cheese, but I don't know.
Blue cheese?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's mozzarella. The answer is mozzarella.
Mozzarella, yeah. Oh, Parmesan. I love Parmesan cheese.
Okay, that's fine too.
Actually, no.
Real Parmesan is really good.
Yeah. Dude, I'm Italian. I love Parmesan.
Of course. Now, in game, what's your favorite cheese? What gets the dirtiest response?
I think like the old school, just 2 racks marine. I think that has the most impact on people. It really bothers people.
Impact on people. That's true. Astrea, we got to go with you next, man. First, your favorite kind of cheese, and then your favorite in-game cheese.
I think I like cheddar cheese.
Yeah, it's a good answer too. Sharp or just straight up like a plastic cancer
Mild
cheese?
or sharp? Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, sharp, probably sharp.
Yeah, no, it's sharp. You're right.
And then in-game cheese, I think the TVZ, the 3 Rex versus Zerg, just because I know like when you're playing certain Terrans, every Zerg knows it's coming, but they still can't hold it. It's crazy to me.
Wait a second. Your favorite cheese is a non-Protoss cheese?
Well, I just like Protoss doesn't have very many good cheeses, right? But this cheese is sick.
Whoa, did you watch?
What?
Classic? You watch Classic?
Class. Okay. Oh, the Tempest Rush was sick. Okay, that was sick. That was sick.
You ever cannon rush a
was
server?
that cheese though? No, I don't cannon rush. I don't do that.
Well, then there's your answer. Jesus.
Yes, 10 shield batteries outside your opponent's base is a cheese. Okay.
Did you watch Haz versus Cyril? Yeah, the look on Cyril's face, like he doesn't show a lot of emotion, but the rage he had when he lost 2 games to that.
No, Cyril only lost 1, and he
should have.
That wasn't
he should have lost 2. We counted as 2.
On what was that big 4-player map? I don't remember what the name was. It was the Darkness Sanctuary. He should have lost that game, but he didn't.
Wow. Now, Dan,
Yes.
Your favorite cheese, and then your favorite in-game cheese.
Now, okay, so in-game cheese, Cannon Rush. I like to watch Cannon Rushes a lot. I get really excited when I'm doing Cannon Rushes and I'm commentating. For actual cheese, now this is a complicated question.
Okay? Yeah, I understand.
I'm a bit of a cheese connoisseur. I really like cheese. It really matters, right? Like if I'm having it on a salad, let's say, right? I would like feta. If I'm having it in an omelet, a goat cheese or a blue cheese is probably the best.
Cheddar's also
if you're just like, you have to eat a whole block of cheese right now.
Yeah.
Might have to go with pepper jack, right? Just straight up nothing with it. Pepper jack is going to be a good choice for that, right?
Melted pepper jack, solid pepper jack, both of them just great.
If I'm making a sandwich, some Havarti maybe?
Not a bad choice.
Yeah, no.
Swiss cheese also good there.
There's a lot of good cheese. That can be really good in a sandwich as well, you're right. So, Munster is good in a sandwich too. I mean,
incorrect, but
there's just a lot of good cheeses out there. So, it's a hard one to.
So for people that haven't, when he said Munster, that's something that you're not aware that exists until you hit 35. So for a lot of our audience, it's going to be.
No, that's true. You asked me this 20 years ago, and I'm just like, oh, the yellow slices.
Yeah, I know what Munster is. Come on.
Yeah, well, I don't know how. Who told you about that?
You're very cultured.
Yeah. It's tough for me. I'm a big cheese guy too. But mozzarella is just it's in so much that I like so much. So it has to be mozzarella. But I'm gonna spend time telling you guys now. Nobody will ever name this cheese, but it's Mizithra cheese, which is a Greek cheese, very salty, very dry. But if you shave Mizithra cheese over pasta and then you brown butter and you put that, just combine it, it's one of the best fucking meals you can ever absolutely have. And I'll tell you what, we've said a lot of really important stuff today. None of it is as important what I just said. Okay, Future talking about his career and shit, I don't care. If you make a Mizithra pasta meal right now, I have changed you in ways that you have not even. This is tantric. I want
it so bad.
This is a tantric
100%
moment.
That cheese is not in Korea though.
Yeah,
100%.
Sting in the Place and his concubine. This is what they do. As far as in-game cheese, it's tough because it is definitely the reaction you're looking for, right? Like when you cheese someone, you don't want just their ladder points. You want them to yell at you. You want that moment to get pretty dark. And I think first of all, you better be cheesing on the European ladder, okay? North American cheese. This is
you're just gonna be cheesing each other. It's just
Yeah, it's like boxing at a boxing ring. Like they know it's coming. It's there. They're doing it themselves, so it's just not as fun.
Yeah.
Cheesing on the European ladder is like boxing in an angry house of really upset people. And some of my best moments was when I used to go over for DreamHack. I'd hang out at the Good Studio House for like a week or two, and with Apollo and Semler and everybody, and I would ladder. And some of the weirdest things I've ever had wished upon me happened there. And also, it's important to note that when you cheese on the European ladder, there is no definition of cheese. It's just basically winning. I think winning is actually the cheese on the European ladder. But if you can execute, let me tell you what, if you can pull off a cannon rush against an Eastern European gentleman that just knows enough English to try and wish cancer and fire upon your family, oh, man, it's tough. Is it either cuddle with 3 Labradors or have that? I don't know. It's like way up in the air for me. It's amazing. So sorry, I don't have a more specific answer, but that's pretty good. Alessandra asks, hi, Jeff, longtime listener, first-time question submitter. That's not true. Alessandra. Do you all watch VODs of your games despite knowing you shouldn't? And have you actually ever learned anything useful from the caster commentary or chat comments as you ladder? I'm going to turn over to our young pro gamers here because I know the answer is yes. And this is where we say you should never read the comments or watch VODs or Twitch chat of your games. But you guys do it every time, don't you? Astrea.
Well, I always watch the VODs of the games I win, and I never watch the ones I lose.
That's why I fucking love you, dude. That's actually how you do it.
That's actually what I do as well. I haven't played a lot of commentated matches, but I can't
Yeah.
I can't watch commentators try to say what I'm fucking trying to do when I lose. I can't do it.
Let's get real dark here, because Future of Terran, you strike me as a guy that like you dim the lights and like turn on the VOD and watch it by yourself in a room where you lose, right?
I was gonna say like I'm not watching this while playing a ladder game. I'm focused on this, like I'm taking it all in.
God, you guys are all better people than I was. When I was a pro gamer, I read the comments. It's a sick, bad obsession. You should never do it. It is so bad. Ugh. As a commentator, yeah, I check comments some, but not a whole lot. But I'm completely dead inside, so it almost doesn't affect me at all, which is great. Next question. Merik. Artosis DRG is back in Code S. Can his next level Zerg brain immediately dominate, or will it take a couple tournaments? Okay, now that Dan is distracted, what's the nicest thing the rest of you can say about Artosis before he finishes gushing about DRG for 30 minutes and hears you? So, we're role-playing right now, but Astrea, what's the nicest thing you can say about Artosis?
I mean, Artosis is the most fantastic GSL caster along with Tasteless, and
especially along with
makes watching GSL very, very enjoyable for me.
Oh,
Future Terran.
Future, I'm waiting on you, buddy.
If you could go next, please.
I just have an immense respect for Artosis and NeosteelEnthusiast, respectively.
Oh wow.
I think you guys are fantastic figures for the scene.
Thank you, man.
You guys are too kind.
Dan, I will always take the opportunity to say something nice about you, even if this question was silly. I respect, and
this was my alt account, by the way.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about Dan, one of the reasons why this show works. You were just
asking to say something nice.
I said this on the 1-year anniversary, but I love, and I hope people appreciate this because it's not common, Dan's willingness to be honest and to share how he emotionally feels about things. When there are people, I won't name names, but one of the things that bugs me the most about this level of show or whatever is you'll get people that are not speaking to you, they're speaking to like the projection of themselves to an audience at all times. Can't stand it. I get it. I respect the hustle, but I really like whenever someone's like, well, when they put on a performance verbally and are talking about something. Yeah. But Dan doesn't do that. I like it a lot. Great question. Let's
I don't think DRG is going to win a GSL.
No,
sorry, guys.
Nobody thinks that. GG Emini, the final question. I like this. Who is going to win Cheeseadelphia this weekend? Let's turn it over to the man, the myth, the legend, the champion of the big Cheeseadelphia. Future, can you repeat and will you?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Who's some of the other good players going? Is M. Canning going to be there again and stuff?
Massa and Jon Snow
will
be there. And then for the Protoss side of things, Rob and Raze will be there. But yeah, I think I should win. I think I'm probably favored against Massa and GBT.
Wow.
And I think against Jon Snow.
Who do you think's your biggest threat?
Probably Massa. Yeah, I'd say probably Massa.
He used to have sick TBT. He was saying, which was funny, just before he won his TBT match against Time, who was looking really good. He was saying that his TBT is garbage and he doesn't practice anymore.
Well, because I was playing customs with him before that. And
you rocked his confidence a little bit.
I mean, he won, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I also think Massa is someone that never says the true. He's always lying, right?
It's hard to say. I don't really have a.
It's okay. I'll get the answer one day. That's what I do. I get answers.
I don't know him enough. I'm just not sure.
All right, so that's Future's thoughts, but I want to turn it over to someone that obsessively consumes StarCraft content and knows these players inside and out and can give us the honest opinion. Of course, I'm talking about Australia here. Who's going to win Cheeseadelphia this coming weekend?
Oh, that's me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I think Massa and Future both have really good shots. I think my boy Jon Snow's been playing a few too many 10-mans to have a good shot, but we'll see.
A few too many what?
He's been playing a little bit too much CSGO is what I'm saying.
Wow. You guys trying to go the Elige route?
Yeah, a lot.
You know that, by the way? Isn't that sick? One of our former StarCraft guys, one of the best Counter-Strike players.
Yeah, a lot of us play CSGO, and we Jared's a part of the 10-mans. Max is part of the 10-mans. You know.
What are we talking? There's a StarCraft pro that's
Elige. ELIGE.
Okay. Was he a StarCraft guy or?
Yes. That's what. Are you just not paying attention at all?
Yeah, I think he was.
I am. That's why I'm trying to figure this out a little bit more.
Hey guys, Dan.
So is he like a really good Counter-Strike player?
He is like the guy in Cloud9 and just has been good for a long time.
He's on the second best team right now. So like the best team in CS:GO is Astralis. Like they're just insane. They're basically like the Maru of CS:GO right now.
They're the best ever. Whoa, Sarah, please. Okay, let's not.
Yeah, as a
They're Danish.
Yeah,
They didn't win 4 GSLs in a row. Come on.
Danish.
They won 4 majors though in a row.
Yeah,
or not in a row, but they won 4 majors. And then Team Liquid's the second best team right now. I think people would agree with that. And Illige is on
Team Liquid. Team Liquid, not Cloud9. My bad. Yeah.
Cloud9 is, I don't know what happened to them, man. They're gone.
Cloud9 and Team Liquid are like the same thing to me.
There's some of the high-end Dota guys and stuff were StarCraft players too, like Ice. He was a StarCraft 1 player.
Yeah, but he's just a memer in Dota 2. He's not actually good.
Well, he was good once upon a time, at least.
I'm just teasing. He's great.
Up now. Okay.
He's just really funny. His thing is his stream's really funny. Yep, these guys leave our game and they go off and conquer these other games. That's just what happens. Be thankful that some of these kids are stuck on this game for self-loathing purposes, probably. That's it. Thank you for the questions. As always, if you want to ask more, make sure and Patreon up to us. Give us your money, and then you can ask questions. If you give a lot, you can ask big questions. We still haven't had that. Waiting for someone to write a book. I feel like I've teased people out of wanting to do that, and I apologize. We can have Dan read them if you're really worried.
Yeah, no, I'll answer them truthfully too.
Well, hey,
I'm good at that.
That's right. But I will keep teasing the people that are plebeians because that's actually, as long as I'm gentle, I can do that. That's it. That was episode 47. Thank you all so much. We're going to wrap up there. We'll be back next week. I don't even know if there's an episode. Like, I'm sure we'll miss one eventually, but I can't think of one coming up. Like Dan was saying, even in June when I'm off for Homestrike Cup, he'll host the hell out of a show. I want to give a big special thanks to these 2 young guys. This is a long show, by the way. We're looking at 2 hours and about 30 minutes, which is about as long as we go. And yet these young guys, with their vitality, were able to go the whole distance, the whole time. They stayed firm and were able to just keep at it the whole time. It's amazing. So, Astrea, you've got a Twitter. You don't stream. You're gonna start streaming?
I might. I usually just stream whenever I feel like it.
Wow, you are so Californian. It's insane.
If you're doing StarCraft 2 full time right now, a good way to supplement that income is through streaming.
Yeah,
this is true. No. I seriously might start. I probably wouldn't until after WCS. I might stream more soon. I need a better computer actually. I play on my laptop. It's not good enough.
I can tell you need a better computer, yeah.
A better mic.
Make some donations to that Astrea kid and tell him to buy a computer, guys. He's a really fun player. We saw some of those builds at WCS. Like I was making my jokes, but it's Colossus and Void Rays, and it's well executed and fun. And like I always say, him versus Puck is one of my favorite nightly rituals. So hopefully we'll see more from you. Go follow him on Twitter and harass him until he starts streaming, and cheer for him this coming weekend as he has an easier group than this next guy. Mr. Future of Terran, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate your willingness to share opinions that, are your own. And sometimes people get really upset when people do that. And hopefully, what was our guest? We had one guy get yelled at when they came on our show and guests, and someone like the next day was like, "You're shit on the Pylon show." So
that was Joey. Nice username, actually.
Joey, nice username. That's right. That was so funny. So hopefully your European practice doesn't get too dark. But thank you for coming on, man. What is your plans? What can people do to support you? What do we got?
So if you want to catch more of me, I'll be playing at Philadelphia this weekend, and then I'll be playing in Challenger the week after that. If you want to see me playing in games, and then probably after that, I'll get back to streaming full time, basically. And besides that, you can follow me on Twitter at Future of Terran. You can follow me on my Twitch at Future1, and just thanks to my team, Infinity Gaming.
Very, very cool. Mr. Artosis, you're going to be casting the GSL Super Tournament tonight, but what else? What do you got? You've been streaming?
Right. Well, I'm keeping my stream up. Pylon show, obviously, right now. For KSL is starting, so Thursdays and Fridays, I'll be on KSL each week, but this week I'll miss because Super Tournament for the next 4 days, starting at 5 p.m. KST. That's an hour and a half earlier than GSL normally starts for time zone conversion. It's 4 hours and 45 minutes from right this second. So definitely check that out. And I'm doing a show with No Regret where we just go really deep into replays. We just kind of nerd out. It's really fun. You can check that out. It's on my YouTube alongside the VODs for this show. So that's youtube.com/ArtosisTV.
Very cool. For me, real quick, if you want an even deeper look into replays and probably better analysis, head over to Rotterdam08, who's doing a show with his friends where he analyzes Goblin's replays.
The Goblin show. Come on. Yeah, you analyze his Goblin replays.
I'm just kidding. They're all great. Fantastic. They're all great. And Tasteless has a podcast, and I could listen to that guy talk forever, so he's also got a Patreon. There's so much great content coming out. I hope you guys enjoy all of it. I kind of forgot to do this, so I'll do it real quick. Not even forgot, but just got ahead of myself. Real quick, thank you to all the people that support us. We talked about AFK T, we talked about Matt Chirino, but I want to give some time to the Patreon supporters. Again, it's astounding that there's so many of you that have just been rock solid. We just celebrated 1 year of the show, and you guys are still here, and we're seeing new names pop up there, so thank you. We really, really appreciate it. And then, of course, this show would not be what it is if just Dan and I sat in front of a webcam and talked about StarCraft. It'd be pretty cool, but it would not be as good of a show as we have right now. And we have these people to thank right here. Just thank you to all of them. Love you guys. I'll mention it every episode because you deserve it. I have fallen, so for my shout out, I've fallen into a pit of XCOM. I apologize to the StarCraft fans. I just needed, I love that game. I'm playing it right now, so I'll probably play some later tonight. But I will get back to playing some StarCraft soon as well. This weekend I'm commentating WCS. I promise you guys, if they have a free-for-all, I will not commentate. I will throw myself off of a balcony, and we'll make sure to get someone super excited about it, like probably Zombie Grub alongside like Fear Dragon. Both those people get aroused and excited about just about anything. So I'll make sure and have them commentate as opposed to me. And that's that. That's all I got. So thank you all so much. We'll be back with episode 48 next week. See you guys. Peace.